I thought, what's the point of waiting? What is the point of waiting? I've got 65 seconds to go on the clock. And I thought, you know what? Let's just get it over and done with, eh? Eze to Arsenal, deals agreed. Ornstein's just I think Eugene's in the house already. Big up to you. How you doing, Eugene? You okay? Good to see you.
Yeah, man.
I'll bring you in a second, mate. I'm just going to get the intro done. Guys, it's been a terrible evening, isn't it, eh? It's been a terrible evening. Eze to Tottenham is done. Eze to Arsenal is done. Our one's done badly. Their one's done in the positive. Not what anyone wanted to see. Not what anyone predicted. Everybody is out for blood. Everyone who's sort of the Levy outside are almost celebrating. And everyone that's, I don't know, just been going with the flow and going with the news flow. Apparently they're in the mud for saying things were done because we were listening to journalists and things. It's one of those emotional moments. But what I would say, guys, is according to all reports, Arsenal and Tottenham both met the same terms. And Eze just chose Arsenal because he's got an affinity to them. Lots of the journalists are saying that that Tottenham couldn't have done, or they feel like they couldn't have done much more. Crystal Palace wanted him to play tomorrow. That's still going to probably be the case. If it's not the case, if it's a here we go tonight and he doesn't play tomorrow, then there's certainly some questions that need to be asked. I'll be going through the chat, letting everyone have a vent and bringing some people on throughout the show. But yeah, absolutely devastating bit of news. And over to Daniel Levy and the team to figure it out very quickly. I'll be showing the Twitter sphere. Smash the like button, guys. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. The subscribe button just needs to be rubbed once. And if you are watching this for the first time, then you can get access to the chat. Eugene, how you feeling, man?
Man, I mean, I've been following Spurs for about 15 years. I don't think I've ever been this angry, and just
because it's Eze, because it's Arsenal.
It's just it's not. It's Morgan Gibbs White. It's Eze. It's Arsenal, right? If he would have gone to City, okay, like I'd be upset, but it's City or Liverpool. But going to Arsenal, and he's been available for 2 seasons, right? And just us messing around, and Arsenal agreed terms with Parrish in like one day, and I don't know what we've been doing.
But they would have known what the terms were, right?
Yeah, but
all of the reports that were out earlier on were saying that Arsenal had no interest. They would have been interested earlier on in the window if Eze was available for 40 to 45, but at 60 million, they had no interest. And then the Kai Havertz injury happens. If the Kai Havertz injury doesn't happen, none of this happens, right?
Right,
but they also knew the terms. They pick up the phone to Paris and say, "Can we match the terms of whatever Tottenham paid?" Paris says, "Yeah, sure." Eze gets the option, chooses his boyhood club.
Yeah,
it's not like Tottenham outbid. You know?
My question is, obviously, we cannot go up against bigger clubs, but why wasn't this deal done last week, right? There was always a risk that Arsenal is going to come in, right? Because they were like in and out.
That might have happened last week as well then, right?
Maybe, but I don't know, just with Gibbs White deal, with this deal, and, last day of the window, we're going to get Ali Gold saying that Frank always wanted Alkanus or somebody from Uzbekistan. Like, that's what we always do. So it's maybe the meltdown is kind of too irrational, but again, it comes, it's Gibbs White, it's Eze, it's Arsenal. When you put everything together, we missed out on 2 players who'd be perfect for us, right? They'd be perfect for us. And my other frustration is with Lange and Don Fabio. Like, does Don Fabio know anything outside of Italy? He's on the phone sitting in games. Does he know, like, other than an easy deal with Juve, does he know anything?
Do you know, apparently the reason why, I don't know this, but I just heard someone else saying this on a Twitter space, and you can make the argument now, no one knows anything, do they? But again, just quickly, all of the ITKs, they have been right on all of the details. It's just how it ends. Things happen at the last minute, right? Like the Morgan Gibbs White saga, that happened at the last minute when everything was almost done, and then it wasn't. Same with Eze. But all of the news that was coming out, it wasn't like it was completely spun and made up nonsense. The people that are now claiming that like the Himothy's and the yada yada yadas were in the mud, the Spurs journal, they all said they were all right up to speed and just ahead of Romano and ahead of Ornstein on that detail. It's just something happened at the last minute that that took us out of the pole position, I guess. And I think that people need to relax a little bit, because tonight all I'm seeing on Twitter is like the most horrendous things being thrown towards people that are just reporting what they have heard and what they know, and like it's vile. Some of the stuff that's going on is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, no, ITKs, I mean, yeah, like things change, but like Forest signed 4 players or 5 players. You don't see this happening to Liverpool, to City, to Man U. Like, not only it's embarrassing, it's just and our recruiting team, we spent 3 weeks on Gibbs White. That's it. No links to anybody else. Now we spend 2 weeks on Eze. No concrete links to anybody else. Why can we only work on one deal at a time? And of course, we can say, yes, Lang works in the shadows. Something else could be happening. But I just don't see it. Unless I actually see it, it's the links are out there. We can only walk. We cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. Like, what are we doing?
There are links out there. There are links out there. Like Tottenham will link with Xabi Simons. I'd expect that there'll be an attempt now to try to steal that one, because Chelsea are resting on their laurels. Yeah, I think the other thing. Listen, by the way, I'm as angry and upset as everybody else with the situation, but I think that everyone is just, their knee-jerk reaction is just to throw the baby out with the bathwater and pretend like these things don't happen. Like they do happen. They happen to teams that punch above their weight, teams that punch into a pool where they don't have the same draw. Like, with regards to Morgan Gibbs-White, we don't know what happened there, but that was like obviously like something within the internal chairman, like whatever he's done, Marinakis has said, right? But Newcastle United have gone after every player that they possibly could, half of the top talent in Europe, and had exactly the same thing that's just happened to us, but for different reasons. They've lost out all the time as well, right? So, Eze has an affinity with Arsenal. He's an Arsenal fan. He grew up, he went to their youth academy. If it turns out that he joins Arsenal, it's not like we didn't bid enough. We had a deal agreed, and then something else happened last minute that was just this spanner in the works. But the emotional outrage, I get it. I'm not trying to say everyone shouldn't have it, because I know right now the fact that it's Arsenal, the fact that it's Eze, the fact that it's late in the window, the fact that it looks bad, I hear it. I absolutely hear it. But in the cold light of day, cooler heads prevail. And for me, whilst I'm sure Daniel Levy is absolutely like cringing and like wreathing with, various emotions right now, we are where we are. And you have to sit there and go, if there's no plan B, plan C, then obviously we're entirely screwed. But the other reaction, Eugene, could be that you then go and you pick up the phone to Parish and say, cancel that. Like, I'll give you 75 million quid. Just like, something like that. And then you look desperate. Then that will get twisted into a level of pathetic behavior. Or you then go and pick up the phone and you overpay on someone that's not good enough because you're desperate to get something done now. And I think that, there's still plenty of talent out there that can be attracted. And, Eze is a wonderful player, but I think Tottenham fans think of Eze like he's one of our own for some reason. I've never really understood why. When he's an Arsenal guy, everyone would have loved to have had him. Everyone around world football would have loved to have had him. He's a top player, but it's almost like we've been, I don't know. It's like we've been dumped by our girlfriend here. I'm like, he's, you know what I mean? It feels different with Eze, and I'm not sure where the logic is in it.
Let me ask you a question. Look, Parish, he doesn't care whether to sell him to Arsenal or to us, right? The only challenge potentially would be terms with Eze and saying he's an Arsenal fan. I mean, all players are fans of some teams, but they're footballers. So yes, he might have a preference, but I don't think he would stall the deal, right? So if Paris doesn't care who to sell, as long as the terms are met, my point is this deal could have been done last week or 2 weeks ago. And for some reason, it's not like Eze said no to us, right? It was all about Levy or whoever negotiating and Parish. So my point is, if we put up the money and say, okay, here's the money, I feel like it's a done deal. It's not like we were, I don't see any other issues. It's not like Eze said no to us. So him being an Arsenal fan, I don't think it has anything to do with anything at this point, right? Arsenal is a bigger club right now. So if Arsenal come for a player who might not even be an Arsenal fan, he's going to go to Arsenal, probably. So the point is, when that risk is there, just go to Parish and say you want 68 million. Here's 68 million. That's it, done deal. And we've been messing around for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't buy the whole like Arsenal connection with Eze. That wasn't the deal breaker in my mind.
What was the deal breaker then?
That for some reason we didn't put the money up. We didn't do what Parish.
That's not true, though. That's not true. The deal was agreed.
But when?
Ornstein's saying the deal was agreed.
So why did Parish? So what was holding it up? Is it
But
the terms?
He wants to play tomorrow. Unless there's like 5D chess going on where we've all had our pants pulled down and the whole thing. Like, if he ends up signing for Arsenal tonight and doesn't play tomorrow, then I will 100% jump on board that same bandwagon and say that's outrageous. On that basis, then Daniel Levy should have paid an extra $1 million to say, listen, we need him. We want to get this done now. You can't have him play tomorrow night, right? If he ends up not playing tomorrow for Crystal Palace, then fair enough. I 100% agree with you. But if it turns out that he does play for Palace tomorrow, like he was going to for Tottenham, or like he was going to if he was joining Tottenham, and the whole hold-up was just that Parish wanted to get through the first leg, then it doesn't seem like there's any difference in the deal, and it's up to Eze to say, who do you want to play for? And he says Arsenal. And we couldn't force the hand any sooner because Parish said he wants him to play in the Conference League. As I say, if that's not true, if he ends up playing for Arsenal, then Daniel Levy looks in the mud. And by the way, like I said all the way through the window, if the window shuts and we don't have an extra winger or an extra number 10 in, I 100% will be calling us. I've put up videos saying there's no excuses. You have to do it, especially after the Maddison injury. But there's still 11 days left. I've had like death threats on Twitter tonight, all sorts of random shit. Because it's so funny because people they think I'm accessible. Daniel Levy's not, so they want they think of me as like the representation of him. I'm not. I just think I stand by the notion. And by the way, I stand by the notion that protesting on the first game was a fucking stupid idea because no one knows how the window's going to finish, and we still don't know, right? We still don't know, but ultimately. That's all I said. And by the way, 15 people turned up. So I wasn't the only person who felt that way. 62,000 people that went to that stadium could have walked left and just walked across the road, but they didn't. Right? But, wait until the window shuts. Because if you end up getting a Xavi Simons, if you end up getting an Akliush, if you end up getting a Mikel Tadzi, if you end up getting a Morgan Rogers, whoever, if any of those things happen, everyone's happy again. Unless we have some unadulterated weird affiliation with Eberechi Eze because we think that he's one of our own, and that we've somehow lost our prodigal son. I don't understand why that is.
Yeah, it's just Gibbs White, and then everybody already imagined Savinho and Eze, and when everything crashed down, looks like we're not getting Savinho, and now we're not getting Eze. We didn't get Gibbs White. I can see the meltdown, and again, that's how I feel as well. So you might be right. There's still time at the window.
Just saying, for me, it's a horrible evening. It's a shitty evening, especially to lose the player to Arsenal. But nothing's changed in my rhetoric of wait and see. Wait and see. It's 10 days, 11 days. Right? If it ends shit, like I've always said, if it ends shit, I 100% think that Daniel Levy has got absolutely nowhere to go, and that he has to sort of wear this one, walk away, do whatever. He shouldn't be a part of I don't know why he's still a part of the negotiations, by the way. We were promised that he wasn't going to be, according to all reports that Matt Law and these guys were saying there's this whole shake-up at the boardroom level and Daniel Levy's no longer at the club or no longer involved in that stuff. Oh, big up to you, Adrian. I've got a few super chats, mate. I'm just going to do them and then I'll bring you in. But I just think that nothing's changed in my overall narrative of wait and see, and nothing would have changed in my overall narrative had Eze joined the club tonight, because you still have to wait and see. Just big up to you guys, though. Big up Super Spurs TV. Big Blaine. Big up to you, mate. He says, Sean, I've flip-flopped about this, flipped and flopped about, but this is the straw which breaks the back. Levy is the only common denominator on all the missed opportunities over the years. It's time for him to step aside. Levy out. I mean, look, you can feel that Levy out anyway, but on this particular one, as I say, according to all the reports that are out there, Ali Gold, I'll bring up some of the tweets in a minute to show you that I'm not just, I'm not just speaking my own book here. But all of the journalists, mate, are saying that Tottenham did everything that they feel like they did everything they could. We shall see. As I say, for me, the real eye opener will be: does he play tomorrow? If he doesn't play tomorrow, then I think that then there's every right to say, actually, Parish pulled one over. Especially as, by the way, I was trying to say this earlier and I forgot to finish the sentence. There are rumours that Paratici was offered the help. Sorry, that Parish was offered and took the help of Paratici. Again, I don't know if this is true. That was offered and took the help of Paratici to help with the El Canoes deal. And that Paratici used his connections to make that happen in an effort to try to aid the deal with Eze, just for this to play out the way it has. We shall see if that's true or not. But like I say, I'm going to wait and see what happens tomorrow if he doesn't. Thank you very much, Blaine. I appreciate it. And by the way, guys, I've always said everyone's welcome to feel how they feel. I just want to know how you get there. Show me the logic. Show me how you get there. And if you think that he's the common denominator on all the missed opportunities over the years, I'd say, you know, a lot of the missed opportunities, if you're talking about, we're going back 25 years, sure, but we've signed some great players as well in that time. And also, I think that the common denominator I always point to is money in football and the opportunities that it's presented certain people. But I'm not going to talk. Tonight's not the night for a Levy out discussion or Levy in, Levy out debate for sure. But thank you very much for the super chat, my man. Liston Hines is saying Eze was always Arsenal. They only had to ask him. Yeah, I think that's largely where I'm sitting on that one, Liston, to be honest, mate. You know, it's just disappointing. It's gut-wrenching, though. I totally understand why people are, like, devastated, but I do think that people are throwing the baby out with the bathwater a little bit on it. Thank you very much, Liston. Ulrika Car has come in with a super sticker. Choo-choo to you. Let's get the super sticker train going. It's taking the Meltdown City, Meltdown Central. That's where everyone is tonight, mate. Meltdown Central. Thank you very much indeed. By the way, for some reason, all of a sudden, my super stickers and super chats are visible the way that they should be again. It's amazing what a little bit of a meltdown can do, isn't it? Thank you very much, Ulrika. And Blaine has come back in again saying, sorry, getting it off my chest. This just smells like that Jerry Maguire scene when he's going for the #1 draft pick. My word is stronger than oak. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I can see the resemblance there, man. And now, Sean, we just have just under 2 weeks scrambling. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe the Don needs to come in and pick up the phone to a certain couple of clubs over there. Maybe Nico Paz, maybe Yildiz, you know, maybe I don't know. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna find out how Adrian's feeling about the whole thing. Adrian usually brings in some sense as well. Adrian, how you doing? And thank you, Blaine, for that super chat. Hey, how you doing, Blaine? Adrian, you okay, mate?
I'm disappointed. I'm not melting down like others. I'm like you, really on the wait and see. I mean, like people expressing their opinions. That's fair enough. We haven't got all the details, have we? I mean, my understanding was because it was reported in the media all this week, the deal was closed, and my thinking behind this, I was absolutely certain this deal would get done. Mind you, it was against Morgan Gibbs White. I'm not got a good record this year, right? But if it, I mean, the latest news is it's agreed with Arsenal in principle. But I thought with the terms were agreed with the player, so it doesn't say a lot for the player if he does go to Arsenal, right, until he signs or whatever. But this El Canusi deal, has it been done? Have Palace done it?
Well, apparently it's close, yeah, or it's like agreed, yeah. But then, you know,
all the media. We're always a bit more conservative about things. I don't stick my neck out too far, right? You know, I catch the odd cold though. But I thought the only reason this was the wait, and the reason that Eze plays this game and might play tomorrow is because they're waiting to definitely have El Canusi in. So other than that, look, I wanted Eze beginning of last season with Dorgo. I'm on record of saying it, so I'm disappointed. I don't think it says a lot for the player if he's agreed terms with us and everything's been agreed, and then suddenly, I know he left Arsenal at 13 years of age, and then he suddenly changes around. But when it gets to the cold light of day and we really know all the facts, right? Like, if it is and he goes there, right, you know, I don't think it says a lot for the player if he's agreed terms with us and all that. I really don't think it says a lot for his character.
So I'm just looking at the tweet from Alistair Gold just now. So he says, understand that Spurs agreed to Palace's terms today. So Sean, to my original point, why did we only agree to their terms today and not earlier, right? We could have agreed to terms with them last week.
Even the goalposts, apparently, right? That's what that guy Himothy was saying, that it was all agreed, and then apparently he came back and wanted more in performance-based pay and all this stuff. Like, it takes three to make a deal work, mate. The player has to be willing to come, which Eze was at one point. we want to have to pay the money, and the other guy has to be acceptable, be agreeable to that term. And for all we know, we're just guessing here, right? But we can only go off of what we know, or what we're told rather. And people that seem to be closer to the situation than any of the three of us, they're saying goalpost moving in the last 24, 48 hours.
If he said he wants to go to Arsenal, then I don't want him at my club anyway, because if you don't want to play for us, I don't want to play with that mindset, right? But if that's not the case, right, and they've come in, right, and then the next sticking point will be the structure of the payments, because Arsenal spent £194 million on 6 players. Garocas, Zubamendi, Madueke, Zabi, whatever his name is, the goalkeeper, the Moscoweta or whatever his name was, the centre back, and so on. And we know that Paris turned around and said, right, that he wants a large chunk up, probably enough money to pay for El Khanouchi, right? Although I don't know what Palace's financial situation, whether they're in debt before they won the FA Cup or whatever, I don't know nothing about that. And then you've got to look at, well, Arsenal already amortising, a lot of money. They spent 194 million already. Now you're looking at another 60. All right, they won't pay it all out in once, but it goes on the book, Sean, done on this account, even if it's amortised over the next few years, if they do it over 3 years or 5 years.
Why are we talking about finances, though?
Well, they brought in 6 players, 194 million, 224 million euros.
Yeah, but they got to the semi-final of the Champions League, mate.
I know, and they'll get money from the run of that.
It's just like Eze says, according to Ornstein, Eze does play tomorrow, right? So, for all intents and purposes, people saying it's copium and stuff. Well, wherever. I'm just saying to you, this is the information. Everyone can melt down if they want to, but cooler heads should prevail here, and just think for a second about what the logic of the situation is. Tottenham had the deal agreed. He was going to play tomorrow. In the last 12 hours, Kai Havertz fucks his knee. Whoever, Bertie at Palace, picks up the phone and says, what are the terms? Because, by the way, Ornstein said earlier, Arsenal didn't want to pay anything like £60 million. They then go down, they then lose the guy, Kai Havertz. They pick up the phone and say, we'll match the terms. Is that cool? And Paris says, yeah, I don't care. I don't care if he goes to Tottenham or Arsenal. That's fine. And then Eze gets the option. And he chooses Arsenal. Like, I don't really like the meltdown is going to melt down because people are just in that emotional moment. It's like when you're having an argument when you're drunk, right? Versus when you wake up in the morning and you go, I didn't mean it. But like, in reality, let's be realistic here. He was always going to choose Arsenal given the option, especially when one of the guys that's going to take his spot they're going to challenge him for minutes is now also is also not going to be a part of it, right?
Yeah, the frustration with the fan base is a lot of the fan base think that don't go for all the details or don't watch the media regularly or aren't on the podcast shows. And they're thinking, oh, why wasn't this deal just done like that with 60 million? We got Kudus over the line, we got Paulina over the line, we got Romero on a 4-year contract, we got Danso signed off, all that was done, And so why wasn't it done this quick? But as you've alluded to, right, it's because Paris wanted to get El Khanouchi over the line, and then there's the thing about the payments, and like you've alluded to, I don't know what goalposts were shifted. Maybe it's add-ons and stuff like that, because originally it was a 60 mil deal, wasn't it, with a 8 mil add-ons, and they wanted all the money up front. Well, that was never going to happen with any club, really. So, and then we was told, oh yeah, they don't want to sell the player, but Paris was now willing to accept 20 mil payments. He knows if he doesn't do this deal now, next year the value would drop by half virtually. And the player's a year older. It's not going to be a 60 million deal. It would be like 40 next year, So we need more facts, like you say. My attitude is the same. If players don't want to come to my club, I don't want them anyway. If they're deep down, their heart's not in coming to our club, and you should be excited coming to Tottenham. Didn't stop Kudus coming. Didn't stop Paulina coming. So all right, now we've got 11 days to get some business. So Xavi Simons, Danny Olmo,
Xavi Simons is not coming to us. he's going to go to Chelsea. And Olmo, he's not coming from Barcelona to us. I mean,
Well,
I hope I'm wrong. I just don't see those
Barcelona
players
they've
coming to
still
us.
got registration issues, and
But
these clubs
there are other
find money to
options.
get deals done. Then they find themselves overloaded and in shit street. Even
Adrian.
like if Savinho don't come, there's lots of wingers out there anyway. There are lots of wingers, but I mean, like, why don't you just try and bowl? Just try and tempt Real Madrid for Rodrigo. He won't be on £300,000 a week at his age because players go to that club. The younger players that go to Real Madrid, they're willing to take. They don't have to accept big wages. They're just happy to be there, do well, and then get a big wage packet later. With the younger players, with the experienced players or the top class players, they go to Real Madrid on 300, 400 grand a week, whatever it is. But not the younger ones. We find out with Juve and all that, a lot of the players there, they ain't on 250s and 300 grand a week. They can't afford to pay them sort of wages.
Adrian.
A lot of them go to those clubs. They know they're going to win the league every year. That's why. Or every
The only
other
thing
year.
I would say, guys, with regards where Daniel Levy has fucked up here with the benefit of hindsight, is that he could have triggered the clause, right, weeks ago, because he ended up paying pretty much the clause anyway, right? It was going to be £60 million, 60 plus 5 or whatever it was that they've ended up agreeing, them and Arsenal, basically a couple of million shy. And if he triggered the clause, it could have been done weeks ago. So on that basis, I think with the benefit of hindsight, but as Johnny was telling me all summer, nobody wants to pay the clause because either the terms are not like the payment structure. It's essentially 3 lots of 20, one this summer, one now, one in January, and one next summer. So 60 million quid out of the cash reserves in 1 year. But ultimately, like if they've ended up spending 6 weeks or 4 weeks, however long it is, 2 weeks since the Maddison injury, haggling and nickeling and diming over payment structures, then with the benefit of hindsight, he should have just paid it. What he's now going to have to do is ultimately figure out whether or not Savinho is worth the extra 5 million quid, because what's going to happen now, right? If they turns around, picks up the phone tomorrow and goes to Manchester City, who, by the way, I absolutely do not think that Savinho is worth anything like £70 million or £65 million. Nothing like that. But if Tottenham want to get someone in that can at least sort of smooth the waters, then Man City are going to know that as well, aren't they? They're going to now know that we're desperate and going to add an extra 10 million on it, and know that Daniel Levy is in the hardest position in the world, that he's never, like, he's usually the tough negotiator, that he thinks he's always got leverage. He has no leverage right now. Absolutely zero leverage.
Just something like with the Madrid thing, 70 million, right? Now, 70 million, you're talking nearly 80 million euros, which is what Real Madrid were looking at for Rodrigo.
Adrian,
Rodrigo doesn't want to come to Tottenham. Forget about that.
Yeah.
He's not.
I mean, we will have lists and inquiries and all this. Like, hey, look, I respect your opinion, Eugene. I mean, but to say that Xavi Simons won't go, or we can't still, even if there's another option, I'd still take Encapi tomorrow, right? Break his release clause and go and get him in straight away for 52.2 million. I'd go and get him tomorrow. I'd just go, right now, we fucked up, right? Let's get someone in to appease the fan base, get Encapi in, and then spend, because you break the release clause, so that deal's illegally bound then, so that has to go through, and then, right, so you've virtually got a player then, so then now you just got to agree terms and hope he wants to come. If he doesn't want to come, you're screwed, right? But I mean, like, and then go and get your other mid, go and get your winner.
Encapi is an excellent player. I'd love to see him, but it's not going to appease the fan base because everybody knows we need the left winger and a 10.
Yeah, but
center back would be nice, but it's not what we need.
Adrian, time. Go on, Lou.
I agree with what you're saying, Eugene. I agree with what you're saying.
Adrian, let Eugene finish his point, mate.
No. So I agree with you, Adrian. In the vacuum, I agree it would be great, but that's not who we need ASAP. We need left winger and a 10. And to your point about like Simons and Rodrigo and Olmo, players like that who are in Madrid or Barca, they would rather be on the bench in Madrid or be a squad option than come to Tottenham. That's just the way it is. The hierarchy, right? The players would rather go to Chelsea and be squad options in Chelsea and Arsenal than to come and start for us. You see it with Eze. We've seen it throughout. Who was the last player that we've gotten from Madrid or Barca? I don't think we've ever gotten anybody, or at least in recent history. So we should know where we are, right, in comparison to other big teams. So we're not fishing in those waters, unfortunately. That's why when we do have a chance for an elite top player, we should go all in to make it happen. Because otherwise, right now, our options are limited. Now we have to go and take punts on players from France or from other leagues, younger options, younger players who might work out but might not. That's the problem. There are only so many top elite players that would agree to come to us. And losing out on Eze and not getting Savinho, potentially, or Gibbs White, that limits our options.
We have yet to see how this Eze situation pans out. But the Savinho thing, talks were still ongoing. That was still 50-50 in the balance. What?
Now, though, mate. Listen. Let's play a hypothetical here.
It's a more expensive deal now. We ain't got Eze.
Hey, how? Oh, we got Johnny. Johnny's in the house. Johnny must be fuming like we all are. How you doing, Johnny?
Fucking good, honestly. Honestly, I think Daniel Levy needs to get on a fucking plane straight away, head to the Bahamas, and don't bother coming back. How do you? Listen, look, I haven't spoken to my mate. Obviously, whatever. But how you can spend 10 days in negotiations, and they get an injury in the morning, and the deal's done by the afternoon. Look, I'm gonna tell it as it is. No one wants to listen. I've said from day one that Paris doesn't like Daniel Levy. Everyone says, no, it's Daniel, right? Well, like, he doesn't like him. He's bent him over the desk. I said it the other night, bent him over the desk and given it to him hard because basically, Arsenal have done various deals with Crystal Palace. They've done Nketiah. They've done various deals over the period of time without any problem whatsoever. So I would suggest that one call to Steve Parish and everything suddenly became much easier to fuck one over on Daniel. And he serves it right. He's bought it on himself, basically. Simple. You don't spend 10 days.
Why he bought it on himself?
Well, because of obvious previous dealings. Whatever happened between the two of them, I don't know. But there was no love lost between the two of them.
Okay, that's fine. But the deal was agreed tonight, though. The deal was agreed, right?
Well, as far as we know.
So Arsenal pick up the phone. Hey, Steve, what are the terms? Can we match them? Okay, cool. Ebbs, what his name is, Ebbs. Do you want to go to Tottenham or Arsenal? I'll go to Arsenal.
No, I think it's more a case of
He'd rather have dealt with Arsenal, is what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, I 100% believe that that's the case. I'm not exonerating Levy here.
I'm not exonerating him either. But if he's still going to play tomorrow for Crystal Palace, then it's exactly the same situation as what Tottenham found themselves in. So, I don't know. I'm not exonerating because I don't know the facts, but it's just an absolute meltdown with half-chewed information. And agendas are going to agenda, and it's fine. By the way, I totally understand them because it's Arsenal as well. I get it.
The thing is, Sean, I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, like no one wants to listen to the excuses and the bullshit.
It's not an excuse, Johnny.
Yeah.
Where's the excuse, mate? It's just we don't know, but according to all of the journalists that apparently do, all of the terms are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So how is it an excuse? It's just I'm just reporting what's in the news.
No. The point is, Sean, 10 days, right? 10 days. If you got the deal sorted before he had his injury, this wouldn't be a conversation, is my point.
Before who had his injury? Before Kai Havertz had his injury?
Yeah.
But Johnny, we were told, all the in-and-outs out there, all the podcasts I've sat and listened, the radio stations I've listened to, this deal, as he's playing in that last game, and he's playing tomorrow because the deal will not be signed off until El Khanouchi becomes a Palace player. So Parish has delayed the deal. He seems to be the one that's delayed the deal.
Yeah, whether it's the European game or it's their replacement, it takes three to move a needle, right?
Can't you finalize the deal contingent?
At the end of the day here, right, we have spent, God knows, 50, 60 days on two players. right? Basically, you know, when you look at other, whatever you want to say, right? I just look at the fact that Nottingham Forest are doing deals 3 in one day, another day, making waves, making moves. We see a lot of clubs making moves. We see Arsenal making moves, and Spurs are treading water, right? And that is the issue. And I understand, and I'm personally very upset about it. You know, I could understand all the delays if, you know, this was going to go through and all would be forgiven. But this is, this is a hard one. It's a hard one to take, to go anywhere.
It's a very hard one to take, Johnny, but that doesn't mean that we can just invoke emotional outrage and make it feel like it's fact.
I'm just saying.
No one wants to hear it, but I couldn't give a fuck what people want to hear. And I'm going to speak my mind. I think that until you know the details, and as I said at the start of the show, if Crystal Palace allowed him to move to Arsenal tonight and he didn't have to play tomorrow, then I'd 100% be on board with the notion that Daniel Levy hasn't done enough or whatever, and Arsenal have come in and made it sweeter and all that shit. But if it turns out that he still plays for Crystal Palace tomorrow, then I'm going to lean into the notion that all of the terms are exactly the same, and Eze just happened to choose one that chooses his club. It still doesn't look good, and I'm still not telling anyone to not lose their shit. But I'm not someone I'm not an emotional person like that. I'm going to sit there and wait and see how it plays out. People can turn that into defending Daniel. I'm not defending Daniel Levy at all. If Tottenham Hotspur don't have a number 10 and a left winger by the end of the window, as I've said from day fucking one,
though, Sean, we really need two.
That's what I said, a winger and a number 10, right? If Tottenham don't have that, by the end of the window, I'll lose my shit. But the window's not closed yet.
But Sean, I hear what you're saying, but we've watched all these other ships sail past where we're stuck on an island without a fucking boat. And they're all going past. Don't worry, we've got ours. I know you've missed that one. And now we've got another one, right?
You think there's no 10s out there that we can get there?
We've watched too many ships sail past, right?
Yeah, and also...
And they're like, you're going to watch Paz now. If you're going to go to Como now for Paz, how much is that deal going to go up? He's 20 years of age. Look, I really like Paz, but listen, he's 20 years of age. My thought is we're going to end up going to Monaco, if I'm brutally honest, and paying 50 million.
Just super quick, Johnny. Super quick. Ferg, if this is the same Ferg that's being a complete absolute prick on Twitter. And first of all, this will be the last time I bring your name up because you're about to be blocked. But just for what it's worth, 15 people turned up to that protest, not because I called them out beforehand. I called them out afterwards for doing it. I said, you shouldn't have done it. It was naive. I still stand by it. And you know what? 62,000 people felt the same. So relax yourself. In fact, don't relax yourself. I couldn't give a fuck. You're out of here anyway. So see you later.
I mean, to Johnny's point, Sean, like if you look at the number 10s available, yes, they're number 10s, but on Eze's level, there are not many top players with prime experience who are gettable. Again, Xavi Simons, there's no way, like, I just don't see it. So if you look at who's left, yes, it's going to be somebody like Paz or, you know, somebody who's unknown, who's going to just add to the issues that we have. That's the frustration, right? We need a ready player who can step in right now and help us right now in Champions League. And Eze's, you know, his quality, there are not many players out there who can step in and give us what Eze can give us. And same thing would have happened with Gibbs White. That's why all the frustrations. Like, if it be, you know, if Liverpool wants Guehi, I bet you they're going to come in, they're going to get him without all this drama. It just seems like it only happens to us. Maybe it, you know, it's only, but perspective, it's just.
Hold on a second, Eugene. It's deals for deals, and Guehi's down to last year as his contract. He's going to be an easy deal to do. We knew that this deal. We knew with Parish, we knew this was going to be a hard deal to do because prior to this, he wanted all the money paid up front, the 60 mil and the 8 million add-ons. That went. Then all of a sudden, he's willing to sell the player for free 20 mil down payments. There's a lot of clubs can't even afford to put that down.
But the money's there, Adrian. Sorry, like if we
did. I'm not saying that. Yeah, but we put the money up. I mean, we're told El Khanousi will be signed, and then it's virtually a done deal. Now Arsenal come in. If the player, listen, I wanted Eze last year. I wanted him and really wanted both of those players, right? But now Yeah, I know. As it turns out, if it is Eze, he might be a player of his word or something, because he's agreed everything with Spurs, agreed all the terms and everything. But if the player don't really want to come to my club, any player, I don't want them. I don't want them. Because I'm not going to believe you're going to give it 100% if you've got that sort of attitude. To me, I don't believe you've got the right.
70 million on Zabarny. We are bidding. We're linked with Hincapie for what, 55 or 60. So the money's there. So the notion of that we could not activate the release clause.
Someone got the show going on in the background. I can hear an echo.
It's not here. I've got nothing going on.
Okay, I can hear it on someone's phone. Sorry, Eugene.
No, I was just saying the money's there, right? We're bidding for center backs. So, and we knew, or at least it was reported, the release clause for Eze, it was 3 payments. It wasn't one big payment. So again, the money is there. So we're just screwing around, exploring other possibilities where this was an easy deal to get done a while back.
As far as I'm hearing as well, Arsenal still aren't even done after this one. Even after this one, even after Eze, they're looking for another winger. So, I mean, they're signing players like there's no tomorrow. Forest
is signing players, Johnny, right? They got 5 players. Everybody around us except Newcastle and Villa are signing players.
Arsenal got 6 in.
Yeah.
And again, like if money was the issue, I get it. But the money, it's not the issue because according to sources, we're making bids.
I'm hearing agreement in principle, things like that. I'm hearing, so it's not done yet. It looked like it will be done.
Apparently, the here we goes come from Romano in the last few minutes, last couple of seconds. So, look, we have to move on. We have to go for someone very quick. But the problem is, here's where I will absolutely come after Daniel Levy, as I always do on this channel, where I think fair is fair. Is that the reality is that I think that Daniel Levy now is between a rock and a hard place, and I think that his general demeanor, the way that he generally structures negotiations, I think a lot of clubs chairmen are going to absolutely have a ball knowing that he is desperate and they're going to take him to the cleaners, and then we're going to end up massively overpaying for whoever we get. If we go for someone,
we'll get no one.
No, but this is the thing. Well, this is the problem, right? This is the problem with Daniel Levy. Is he's so stubborn. His zero-sum game in negotiations. He's not going to love. He hates going into transfers with the leverage thing. If there was truth to the idea that tonight we ended up offering Richalison, I put a video out a couple of hours ago, and that just before the story broke, I was like, I think Spurs Journo, whatever his name is, Poseidon said someone else is coming in, and then at the same time, Sky Sports were talking about Richalison. It didn't really, at the time, really make any sense. But the video I put out said, like, what's going on there? It seems like we're back to square one in the negotiations, right? And so, unless they've become aware of the fact that Arsenal were coming in, and then Tottenham's last dance with the chance, if you like, was to sit around and say to Parish, I'll tell you what, how about we, would you like to have Richarlison at the same time? At which probably, Palace went no. But that, to me, what I'm more worried about now, there's plenty of 10s out there that we can go after that I don't think are that. But I said at the start, I genuinely thought, as much as I love Eberici Eze, if we're going to go and get a take on specialist as a winger, I still think that there's problems for me having a guy in the 10 who likes to dribble before he likes to pass. Said it weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Nothing's changed in my mind about that. So if Tottenham go and get a better passing 10 and then can still find the way to get the Savinho, I'm still happy with the window, whatever happens. However, what I really worry about is the fact that Daniel Levy goes into negotiations traditionally, whatever leverage he has, he'll turn the screw. Now he has absolutely no leverage. Everybody else will know that. And then how he reacts to being bent over a table is going to be very interesting, because if he sits there on pride and ego and sits on ceremony and basically says, "No, fuck you. I'm not going to be treated like a bitch in this negotiation." Unfortunately, sometimes you have to play the part of the bottom in a relationship, if that makes sense.
Shawnee, I'll see you later, mate. Love to you all.
Mate. Appreciate coming on. See you later.
Regards to all. Listen, tomorrow's another day, a new dawn, a new day. It's a new life for us as Spurs fans. Same old, same old.
100%. Cheers, Johnny. Let me just quickly do some super chats. Sorry, let me just quickly do some super chats, and then I'll get your take on what I just said. I think, what did I get to? Ulrika Kaka, big up to you. She said, don't understand the blame for Levy. This is Vinay Lang show. Agenda's got to agenda. Well, listen, that's certainly what I'll be asking of Lubo tomorrow night. It's going to be wild on Spurs 5. I know exactly what's going to happen. That the amount of venom is going to be on my plate for some reason. Appreciate you, Ulrika. Will THFC, big up to you, my man. Big up to you, buddy. As James is coming in for a chat as well. Big up to James, doing some super chats. Sean, we're now in a position where clubs know we're desperate. Oh, there we go. Perfect. He's just saying what I'm saying. And any player we're targeting knows he was our 4th or 5th choice. You've talked about this previously. I have. I used it in the Newcastle example, right? We are going to be in a very, very, very difficult position here. Not just because Daniel Levy doesn't like the lack of leverage, but because also the sales pitch becomes incredibly difficult if you're going to the 4th choice and then trying to say, come to us. And also, I just don't know how many players are out there that sit in teams that are beneath us in the pecking order that haven't already been gobbled up, where we can say, come to Tottenham, it's a step up. I don't know how many players are out there that are at lower teams that are better than what we have. And so it's going to be a fucking interesting next 10 days. And the more I think about it out loud, it's pretty concerning, if I'm entirely honest. Thank you very much for the very generous super chat, Will. Completely agree with what you're saying there, man. Not good, not good. Pete is also in the house. Big up to you, Pete. It took us 10 days to agree terms and them hours. Yeah, but it's because they picked up the phone and said, what were the terms that Tottenham offered? We'll match them. It's a little bit easier if you're coming in late and you have the sort of receptive ear of a chairman. I appreciate you, Pete. Good to see you, man. MW Nerdify. People need to chill. He is one of many number 10s. That's a good point. That's what Ornstein said, right? That he did say that we have lots of 10s. We're spinning lots of 10 plates. We shall see. But as I said a minute ago, I am worried about the situation with negotiations. Appreciate you very much. Hollywood Hotspur. Big up to you, my man. Thank you so much, but I haven't seen you for ages. Sean, I love you, but facts are Levy had time, resources, a serious need, and a player who wanted us with a release clause. He could have been a hero signing Eze until uniting the fans. He fucked it, mate. Plain and simple. And listen, I agree with you on the release clause thing, 100%. And we ended up basically making the same terms anyway. So on that basis, yeah, not difficult to argue with you there, Hollywood Hotspur, mate. I don't know why people always think I'm different. I attack Daniel Levy all the time. I just be logical. That is what it is. People think I'm Daniel Levy's love boy, love child, or whatever. So that they're going to come to me because they can't get to him. Big up, big country, Chris. Not bothered about it at all. Plenty more fish. Yeah, but how many of them can we hook in the last 10 days? I think is the question there, Chrissy boy. Thank you very much, my man. I appreciate the super chat. Pete's come back in again. Parish Marinakis made Levy look like the knut he is. Yeah. Yeah, probably, possibly. The one thing, says Choppy Cheese, the one thing Levy always fails at is the window. And then he's given the middle finger. A lot of people coming after Daniel Levy tonight, aren't they? Everyone's Levy out. Oh, I better put the poll up. I put the poll up yesterday and it had 68% Levy in. If I put it up right now, I think it's going to be a violent swing because meltdowns have to meltdown. And Keith Edwards, thank you very much, Choppy Cheese. Keith Edwards is saying this might be the kick up the arse Levy needs for future deals. I think we've heard that quite a few times, haven't we? James, what are you saying, my man?
Oh, it's a disgrace, mate, to be honest. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm not having this whole, Arsenal have spent all their money, they can't afford to buy him. Well, there's always money flying around. I'm not having the whole, it's a hard deal to do, 10 days, they come in and buy him straight away. I'm sorry, if this was done 10 days ago, they're not asking him to stay until the Europa League. Havertz doesn't get injured and he's a Spurs player. There's always an excuse for an excuse for an excuse for an excuse. When are we going to learn that it's just a norm? Happens all the time. Every window, one player. I said this the other day. In fairness, we signed Porro, but it took the whole transfer window, and all it would have took is Man City to go, oh, we need a right back, and it would have been done there and dusted. It's always the same story. No matter what we look at, it is whoever's in charge of doing these transfer windows, whether it's Vinay, Levy. I would naturally go to Levy because it's the same thing that happened over and over again. It's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
Where do you think we go from here, though? Oh, go on.
Again, you talk makes sense, but if this would have happened once or twice, but this seems to be happening to us on a regular basis. Even as James said, the transfers that do happen, it takes us 2, 3, 4 weeks I mean, Solanke, right? Dragic, like all these transfers, it takes forever. Whereas other clubs, again, Liverpool, City, they just come in. I want this player, done. That's it. And again, that's why I'm not talking about Rodrigo or Simons. That's out of our league. But we should be able to go to Palace, to play two teams below us in the pecking order, and say, we want your best player. In 1 week, it should be all done, all wrapped up. So that's where my frustration is. It's not a one-time thing. It happens every single season.
Depends on the player, though, Eugene, doesn't it? If you take
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Like you say, mate. You know what I mean?
No,
Listen,
it doesn't. It's always an excuse. Always an excuse.
No, I'm giving you an example. Listen, you might learn.
Well, I can give you 15 examples.
Hold on. Kuna to Man United, right? They activated the release clause on the 1st of June. They signed him on, and they had, hold on, so it was 12 days later. And they must have had negotiations beforehand, right? How long's it taken to get employment over the line? How long's it taken? Depends on the player. We knew this was going to be a difficult deal. Trying to prize a player at Man City is difficult as well. You know that it's going to be a difficult deal. There are some deals.
It's not difficult. He had a release clause. It's not difficult. He had a release clause. How is it difficult? You bid the money, you get the player. It's not difficult.
Terms.
Yeah, it depends on whether
the terms are there. You know what the terms are. You accept them or you don't. It's not difficult.
Hold on. I didn't think Eze was. I wanted the player last year with Udogie. There were two players I wanted in this season, right? 68 mil for his age. I just thought it's taking the piss a bit, right? So other fans, no, just pay the money. But I balk at some of the prices, right? If it turns around,
I'm glad that you take the moral high ground because we're getting none of them now. So well done.
Well,
we'll spend that 120 million that we coughed up front on the flats. There's money there for those.
There's money there now, mate.
Exactly. That's my point. But there's always an excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's a reality.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking what Adrian just said. He's there saying that it's too much money here, or we are paying this amount up front. There's no excuses. The money is there to be paid. Pay it or go else.
No one was interested in Eze, even us, because we only switched to Eze because we didn't get Morgan Gibbs-White, and that got screwed up by Marinakis. We wouldn't.
No, it's not. It's Lee. Why is it always someone else? Always someone else.
Marinakis.
So so when was the last time Daniel Levy screwed up?
The player getting him making a speech on the ground.
When was the last time Daniel Levy screwed up?
When?
The last time Daniel Levy screwed up.
Yeah, because he's there saying, no, this is Marinakis. Or he was saying, Parish is really hard to deal with. Okay, well, when was the last time Daniel Levy was hard to deal with? When was the last time he didn't screw up?
Daniel Levy's a donut.
When it was 68 mil with the 8 mil add-ons, no one was in for Eze. Why? He's an excellent player, but no one was in for him. Why? It's not because they don't like the player. They just thought the price was just a bit over the top, right? So we waited till the release clause went. And we'll see, as Sean said earlier today, if he plays tomorrow. Because all this deal was supposed to be agreed. In the media. Yeah, in the media, right? All the podcasts, all the ITKs were saying, deal's done. Parish won't sign off on the deal until El Khanouchi is brought into the club, right? Otherwise, I think this deal would have been done. This would have been done. But having said that, any player that don't want to play for my club, I don't want him anyway. I'm not sure I want him there anyway, to be honest with you.
But let me ask you this, guys. Let me ask you this. Eugene, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to come to you first. How does Tottenham, whether it's Levy, Vinay, Lang, whoever, Paratici, how does Tottenham salvage this now? What caliber of player? Name me a number 10 that can come in where everyone goes, all right, that's better. Well, that's good. That's good enough.
I don't know how many are on the list or what their targets are. You don't release them because you don't want a player to be asked to come to the club. If they know their third or fourth choice, they won't want to come anyway, maybe, or might not. Or other players will come if they've got Champions League football. But if they're clever enough to realise there's players out there that have got release clauses, so he don't get his arse handed to him, Levy. Like, even if it's not one we necessarily lead, if we went for Nkappi at 52.5 mil, or I'd love to take tomorrow, right, personally, right, he's got a release clause. So if the player don't want to come, you're screwed again.
No one gives a fuck about right now. I'm talking about how does the club turn this around to salvage the Eze disappointment? If you go and get fucking Nkappi tomorrow, that ain't going to satisfy anybody. It's not going to
I mean,
satisfy, even though he's a top. Satisfy you, Adrian. And look, he'd satisfy me on the deadline day or third in the pecking order. Would love to see it because he's a top draw player.
Well,
but he is not what we need right now. We need a 10 and a left winger pronto. The problem is that now this has happened tonight. If Tottenham pick up the phone to Manchester City tomorrow and say, well, we bid 50 million euros, rejected. 60 million euros, rejected. 70 million euros, rejected. If we bid 80 million euros and it's rejected, and then Daniel Levy goes back once again and says, 90 million euros? At that point, we are being mugged the fuck off for a guy who has a 1.2% conversion rate.
I get that point, Sean. So if through the agencies are out there, like we do a lot with BAA base and stuff like that, now it's a question of the quality of the players comes into the equation, obviously, right? If you know there are players out there of sufficient quality that have got a release clause, then you could probably go from
Adrian, I don't want to be rude, mate, but answer the question. He's answered your question. You're going so far around the houses. Who coming in changes the mentality of the fans? Who lifts the fans?
Look, the only players we talked about.
The players I've mentioned, people reckon we won't get, But I would go for Xavi Simons because he isn't a Chelsea player yet. Because Barcelona got registration problems with their players, I'd go for Dani Olmo. I'd even if Man City take the piss out of Savinho, I would go to Real Madrid. I also need the money and try and just see if there's any chance in hell of getting Rodrigo. I would go do that.
You do realise that Daniel Levy was haggling over 50 million, and now you want to go step on the door of Rodrigo.
But let's look at number 10s.
Well, they were reportedly wanting 80 million euros for him, right? They wanted 80 million euros.
Let's start with, because even if you were to go and pick up the phone to Real Madrid and say, do you want 100 million quid for Rodrigo? They went, yep, done. Rodrigo's still got to say yes, which to me is the problem. As I said yesterday, I think there's an issue with the fact that when you're looking for players of Savinho's quality, even though I think he's a quality player, I still think you're massively overpaying above 70 million euros, 100%. Anyway, I'll swallow that shit right now. But the only reason Savinho wants to leave City and come to Tottenham, even if he does, is not because he loves Tottenham. It's because he's desperate for minutes in a World Cup year. If it wasn't a World Cup year, he would not be interested in coming to Tottenham. How many other players are in that same boat? Is Rodrigo in that same boat? Maybe you could argue, yes, he is. And so maybe you could make the argument to him, come to Tottenham, or even if he did it on a fucking loan deal, like a loan, give them 10 million quid on a loan fee, pay 100% of his salary and say, come here, you're going to play every minute if you're fit. And then you get yourself in the World Cup squad. Something like that. I'll take a loan deal right now. I'll bite your fucking hand off for a loan deal right now of a player of his quality. But I don't think that he would want to come to Tottenham. But now that Arsenal have got Eze, do they still need to get Rodrigo? They've just signed Leandro Trossard. Sorry, Eugene, every time I ask you a question, mate, either I interrupt or someone else answers.
No worries.
Eugene, who's the 10? Who's the 10 that you would take?
But that was my point, right? If you look at Eze, we need a ready-made player right now, right? Not a 21-year-old. We need a 25, 26-year-old. Obviously, people are going to say, as Adrian said, Simons and Olmo, but that's not going to happen. I mean, let's just not even talk about it. That's not happening. Nobody's coming here from Barca, unfortunately. That's just the way things are. So if you look at who's left, I mean, Paz is a kid. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but the names that were out there, I don't see another good option that would get people excited. Again, there might be somebody playing in France or Uzbekistan or whatever who's good, right? Who's going to prove everybody wrong. But as of now, for fans, right? So it's different. There's a meltdown happening. So if your question is who's going to appease the fans, I honestly don't know. Outside of Simons and Olmo, I don't know another, or Paqueta, or Bruno Guimaraes, right? But those names, I don't think we're going to get those names at this point. So I don't know if anybody's going to come in where fans are going to be happy. And, I mean, I would take Paqueta, but I don't think West Ham is going to deal with us after Kudus. That's not going to happen. I would take Guimaraes, but
would you go and spend 80, 90 million quid on Morgan Rogers? Would you go and buy Aston Villa out of their entire hole?
It's not worth it. I mean, if we're desperate, but you know what? I think we're going to end up paying for Harvey Elliott, and I'm going to be really disappointed, underwhelmed.
Yeah, same. If we get
good player, but
I'll be.
That's plan B. I know for a fact, or I have a feeling where homegrown, and Levy, that's a Levy signing. We're gonna pay 50 million for him, and I'll be really underwhelmed.
What about Pape Matar?
What about Sean?
Good player,
What about
James? Good player.
Sudakov, Shakhtar Donetsk?
Oh, Sudakov. Yeah. I rate Sudakov. How the fuck can you possibly judge a player that's playing in the Ukrainian league? All of the top talent from Ukraine fucked off all of the foreign players fucked off when the war kicked off. So like he's banging in goals galore and he looks like a tidy player, but I have no idea what standard of football the Ukrainian league currently is. No idea at all.
I saw something the other day. I saw something the other day where they were comparing Gyökeres for all the goals he scored. Troy Parrott has played 6 games this season and scored 10 goals, I believe, in 6 games. So it goes to show you the level of the standard of football in any of these leagues. For me personally, a Cam, I don't know now. I'm really disappointed with the Morgan. No, not as a Cam. No, my left winger. I mean, I said it before. My left winger has to be Adeyemi. World Cup year, German, wants to get into the squad, can play up front as well. For me, Adeyemi is the left winger I'll go for. It's the Cam that for me is disappointed because I wanted Gibbs White and then I wanted Eze, and now I just feels like Morgan Rogers is fantastic, but I just feel like what a waste. Yeah. The 2 that I wanted have gone.
Pellegrini's available. Apparently, they don't want to pay his wages no more in Italy. So, but he's 29, I think.
But like all of those players are punt, and that's the argument, Sean, that I had in the WhatsApp group with Perch and Sava about that guy from the French league. We can say, he's talented, everything is great, but it's a French league after all. So there's a risk with all those players coming from Italy.
I'll be honest, man. Akliouche to me, like, I don't know where he's like. He's a left-footed. He's a 1 foot guy. He's like Decky. And if you're gonna bring him in to play him in the 10, then maybe. But if you're gonna bring him in to play him on the left wing, all that a right back's gonna do is show him on the inside. He's gonna stand on the outside because the guy can't kick the ball with his right foot. So like, I don't know what we're doing, thinking that guy is the saving grace. He's a very talented player. Don't get me wrong. And when he's got space in behind, he can drive at players, and he's very attractive to look at on the ball and everything. I'm sure he's gonna be a top player. But the geezer is not. He's not like he's not 2-footed wizard, 100%. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So if you're going to play him in the 10, it's still the same problem though. He's a dribbly winger. Sorry, he's a dribbly 10. We need a 10 that can pass the ball. We need a 10 that can thread the eye of a needle. And Eze wasn't that guy.
No, he's not. He's a ball carrier.
So is Akliouche. So, like, to me, I don't fucking. Like, the more I think about this, the more I think we are fucking right up shit's creek. If I'm entirely honest, because
this has got Tyler Diblin written all over it, isn't it? This has got Tyler Diblin written all over it.
You know what? No, I think that Tottenham might go and get Garnacho.
No, I will stop watching games. I promise.
If you go and get Garnacho and Paqueta, I still think they're both good players. Garnacho was one of my top 3 anyway at the start of the summer, so you're not going to hear me like moaning about it because I rate him. But when you've been promised amongst when the fan base has got their head around the idea of Eze and Savio, and then neither of those 2 things are possible, everything's going to be a disappointment.
Listen, you know what's going to happen, Sean?
Like what you're saying, when you're going out for a steak dinner and you've got your heart set on that, and you end up at Mackey's. Listen, Mackey's is always going to do a job, always, but it ain't what you was looking forward to. It's heartbreaking.
I like your idea, Sean, of loans to buy, have an obligation to buy. I like those deals. Try before you buy. I like them. I think
that worked with Tel, didn't it?
I haven't got a list of players in my head because everyone give me pelters. We ain't getting him. Every time I suggest a player, we ain't getting him. So, but if you go to these clubs and you go like loans, I think you could do business here.
You know what?
The only place you can go to that I think is a lower team that has a player that's better than what we have for the 10 role right now, like Olmo doesn't fit in that bracket. Pedro Gonçalves doesn't fit in that bracket. Like there's a lot of 10s out there, but the only one I can think of right now that's a team that we could go to, pay the money to a team that needs money, is probably West Ham and it's probably Paqueta.
Paqueta, yeah.
Yep, that's it.
And he,
What's gonna
for me,
happen?
he's very good,
Don't bring.
but I don't think he's an out-and-out number 10. I think he's an 8. I really like Paqueta, and I think he's a very good ball-playing, 8. I don't know if he's got that on a 50 pence piece, turn around and pinging balls left, right, centre. I don't think that's his natural game. He's more of a dog. He's more of like that Brazilian dog for me. And I do want him. I think he'd be fantastic. But I don't think he's the number 10 that's going to connect the kudos runs with potentially whoever we get on the left side.
With Kudos, I just want to say what's going to happen is if we don't bring anybody in with Kudos and his volatile attitude, like personality, he's going to be doubled every single game. And maybe by the end of the season, he's going to look around. He's like, hey,
he'll be injured.
I feel like I'm in West Ham. I don't want to be here anymore. So that's my concern. If he's not playing around players of his caliber, I'm concerned that he's going to.
Do we think this could all have been a smokescreen to get Romero to sign a new deal? Being linked with all these big players, look, we're going in the right direction, signs a new deal, done.
It's a long con.
Come on now. What are we doing here?
We should go and get Sean. We should go and get Jan Coughlin from Utrecht, right?
Do me a favour. What are you talking about, Adrian? He's nowhere near the standard, mate. What are we talking about? We're
grasping at straws now.
Adrian wants us to go down, I think. 70 last year. I
like the player. I think he's a tank on the left.
Yeah, I like Mark Viduka, but I wouldn't have him back.
He's nowhere near Champions League level, Adrian. Come on, mate.
This is what fans have got to realise. We are Champions League level this year.
Have you seen Troy Parrott? Have you seen what he's doing in the Eredivisie this year?
That's what I said. He's
got like 9 goals in 5 games or something, or 7 goals in 4 games or something stupid. Like that's the Eredivisie is the Eredivisie. Adrian, he's a good player in the Eredivisie, but it's not. This is Eugene's point, right? This is Eugene's point. Like, let's stop looking at players that are smashing it out of the park in shit show leagues, and then just pretending like they're all going to come over and do the same thing at the Premier League. It's wild.
Lancashire scored the weekend. Divine shone and scored the weekend for the Wasps, didn't he? I think Mason Melia scored for St Patrick's against.
In what league?
Ajayi was smashing it at Doncaster. I know they're.
Don't worry, we'll be in that league next season. We'll keep hold of them. They can come back into the squad.
Hang on a second. TWAN. Sean, I'm not disrespecting you, but you are out of line here. How am I out of line? What have I said? Levy should have triggered the goddamn clause weeks ago. As you said, because weeks ago we desperately needed the fucking player. Well, how am I out of line? I don't know what I've said that's out of line.
Well, he said you're out of line, and then he said, as you said weeks ago, we should have activated the release clause.
Listen, I've maintained my consistent theme. I will never get too excited, and I will never get to this point until the window shuts. When the window shuts, if we're in the same shit show, and the more I think about it out loud, the more I think we might probably be. At that point, for sure, I'm going to go apoplectic like everybody else. But tonight...
Is it 2 weeks till the window shuts?
Is it 2 weeks? 1st of September, it's 11 days.
How many games have we got in that time? City, and is there one more?
Bournemouth.
And you got a transfer, then we've got the dreaded international break.
So if we lose our next 2 games, you're okay with waiting till the window shuts before you get players in if we got them in the last day of the season, the transfer window?
I just think that what else could, we can't change anything, can we?
No, we can't. But your opinion then was I'll judge at the end of the window. But if we lose to City and Bournemouth, we're now 6 points or 3 points out of 9. And if we sign 2 on the last day, is that acceptable? Because my whole point was this should have been done.
You would have won those games.
Yeah, for me personally, Eze would have been signed, sealed, delivered if we did this 10 days ago, or even further before that pre-season tour.
But you're still making the assumption that if we lose games of football, that we wouldn't have lost them had we signed Eze.
Yeah, in my opinion, your percentage of winning those games go up dramatically,
but not to the point where it's a guaranteed.
No, of course. But for me, that will be the narrative, wasn't it? Straight away, well, we should have had these players in ages ago.
Of course, but
even if we sign, even if we sign someone last day of the season, it takes him 2 weeks to get familiar with Frank's formation, so he doesn't play for a couple of weeks. It is, for me personally, these sort of signings, like Arsenal have now paid 67.5 million. His release cost was 68. This should have been done before the tour. We should have just said, you know what, and we probably bidded 55 plus 7.5. So all this messing around for 4 million when this could have been done 4 or 5 weeks ago. He could have been on the tour. He could have been playing the weekend. It's not acceptable. That is my only concern. And I gave Levy a lot of credit for what he did under Ange, Maddison, Van der Ven, all of them straight away. Bosh. Here you go. Start the season. Unfortunately, what Levy's done is gone, Frank. Yeah, everyone's got on the Frank train, and he's gone, yeah, throw under the bus. Crack on. Old time players when old time players. If they're a good deal, I'll buy them. If not, no problem.
Takai is in. What are you talking about, James? We got Takai.
Who?
And Tel.
Is that the guy who's got a foot problem?
Yeah,
All of them have foot problems when they come in. Everybody's healthy. You know, like no injuries their whole careers. They come in.
On earth did we sign him if he's
We can't get anyone else. We're signing injured players now just to get someone in.
No, as they probably thought, you know what? I'm healthy. I'm not risking my career, you know, like a knee injury or a hamstring.
You can't blame Eze. I saw a lot of people blaming Eze. You can't blame Eze. If we wanted him, we would have done this ages ago. Arsenal have come in and gone, bish, bash, bosh, we want you, on you come, let's go. And everyone's going, yeah, but he's an Arsenal fan. Football players ain't Arsenal fans or Tottenham fans anymore. That's a kid thing.
Tel is going to step up.
Hang on a second. I've got another donut here. This channel is a talking news now. No substance behind. A talking news now website. No substance behind the rumours. No ITK. Just reporting on the rubbish that's 99% not true anyway. Yeah, I'm a fan channel, mate. I've always been this. When you say it's a talking news now, yeah, like every day I wake up and I look what's in the news and I just aggregate it. That's exactly what this channel is. It's exactly what this channel always has been. And then every night I get together and with people and we have a chinwag about what's going on. I'm a fan channel. I'm not last one on Spurs. I'm exactly the same as we are Tottenham TV or Sava, Football Heritage, or anybody else. We all do exactly the same thing. We talk about what's in the news. Like, we're not ITKs. We're just fans. So, don't know what to tell you, bro. That's what we do here. If that's not okay with you, F off down the Emirates alongside Eze. Yeah, Jesus Christ. It's such a weird... you know what? Like, the fan base, the amount... I get it, because it's your passion, right? But, like, I don't know. I probably should always steer clear of the emotional outrage moments, because the meltdown moments, because no one's ever thinking rationally, are they? But at the same time, they're the moments when we get the most amount of views and clicks and things. Like
content is gonna
content, mate.
Be on fire in a couple of days.
Spurs for me, tomorrow. You know who I feel sorry for? I actually feel sorry for the fans, because a lot of fans invest a hell of a lot of money. I mean, you went to Bodo like that. I can only imagine how much that would have cost. You would think, right? We're
best day of
but that's the sort of dedication that we're putting in. That's the sort of commitment we're putting in. I would love Levy to put in 10% of that dedication to actually go and watch our team win and provide that sort of entertainment. He's very big to stand in front of a camera. I want to win the league. I want to win the Champions League. I'm sorry, mate. You look like a bigger fool now than you ever have, because you've come out, said this thing, and the players we're after have just gone on to Arsenal, who potentially could go and win the league now.
We can hope Paratici can weave his magic in the background or something, but apart from the players I would like,
what magic?
We've got to see if we can get a deal over for some loans. I smell loans. If they're expensive loans, but they're quality, they'll do for now. We've got to get across. What other players are out there? If there's other players out there that have got a release clause, we won't get screwed over. But now, as you alluded to, Sean, prices are going up for players now for us in the window.
Let's have a look, see, right? So let me get this on the screen here, right? So
I'm glad they go. I hope Levy gets absolutely screwed and pays 100 million for a 20 million pound player. I hope he gets screwed and learns his lesson.
All right, so look, we can. This is the attacking midfielder market, right? Based on market value. So we can forget about Bellingham, forget about Wirtz, forget about Musiala, Cole Palmer, Odegaard, Szoboszlai. Xavi Simons has still got a home to go to. Oyen Sunset, right? Brilliant player. I take him. I absolutely take him. I think he's absolutely sensational. Danny Olmo. I'll take him in a heartbeat. He gets injured a lot, but he's sensational. Noenreri, forget him. Morgan Rogers is going to cost you an absolute fortune. Eberechi Eze, well, we know where he's gone.
I take him.
Fermin Lopez isn't leaving Barca. Dejan Kulusevski's already ours. Gibbs White, well, we fucked that one up. Fernandez. Arda Güler. I mean, he's at Real Madrid, but is he playing at Real Madrid? Or is he going to get loaned out? I don't know.
No, he's gonna
And
play.
then James Maddison's also ours already. You know,
We're winning a lot.
we're not going to go and buy Rodrigo Mora. Bernardo Silva's not coming. We're linked with all these motherfuckers. As Enzo Milo he's already moved Milo, hasn't he? He's gone to Al Hilal, or one of those sort of Saudi teams, is he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Al Ali, that's it. I'll tell you, here's one. Charles de Catelier. Right, that's a player I'd take all day long from Atalanta.
Yeah. We were linked for him before when he was at the Belgian club, weren't we? And I still think, mind you, Eugene's right, Paz is a bit young, but
You know what? I'm at that point now. I wouldn't even bother to buy a Cam. I'd wait for Kulu to come back. I think whoever comes in now is going to be a disappointment.
But Kulu's not a Cam, James. Like I was.
No, I know. But
He's not a Cam.
Kulu could do a job, and then hopefully Maddison comes. I'm at that point now. I think he's. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I would rather go spend all the money now on a left winger.
Yeah, I can feel that. Yeah, just go and get the best left winger in the game that you can get.
Because it's going to be, no matter what you do now, it's going to feel like you've been shafted. No matter who they get in.
I love Morgan. A left winger that can take a player on that can cut inside is more important than 10. I've said that from day one. Savinho is more important than Eze. Eze, for me, whilst he's a brilliant player, and for some reason Tottenham fans think he's one of our own, don't understand why, but they do, when actually he's one of our rivals' own. I think that we should, if we can go back. And listen, boy, Savio ain't the real deal. He's a good player, very, very good player, but he's got a 1.8%, whatever it is, 2% conversion rate with shots to goals, right? So it's like 50 shots or 52 shots or something, and one shot target, or one goal rather. So there's a lot of work to do with him, but you can't start the season with Pape Sarr as the 10, or sorry, get through the window with Pape Sarr as the 10, and then left wingers of Mathys Tel and Odegaard. So for me, I'm with you, James. Like if you're going to do one thing, overpay massively for a left winger, or do a loan deal with a massive loan fee. I don't care, like 10 million quid loan fee, 12 million quid loan fee, something like that, and then see if you can get a deal, depending on whether it all works out later on. But yeah, it's not. The more I think about it, the more I think that we're going to get absolutely fucked in the next couple of days.
You wouldn't take Scott Olsen then, Sean?
Yeah. Oh, mate, Scott Olsen's still doing it, by the way. Scott Olsen is still—he's a right winger though, so he's we're not going to do anything with him. No chance.
He scores from outside the box, though. He's always looked good. That's the thing; they always look good in their leagues when I'm looking at them.
Eugene, we got to go with you, mate.
Yeah. Thanks, boys. Good talking
Appreciate
to
you, mate. Thanks for coming on,
Take
buddy.
care, mate.
All right, James, Adrian. Good talking to you, boys. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Do you think the protests, like, were they, even though we now know what we now know, was it still right for the protests to go ahead?
Yeah. I you know what? I agreed with everything everybody said about being a bit like first game of the season. You know, it's harsh. They shouldn't be doing that. I was wrong, completely wrong, because this just makes them look like what it always happens. So fair play for them to actually stand there and say, I wanted change. I knew this was going to happen, and it did happen. So fair play. That can't be easy, the amount of stick that they did get over that.
Did they get stick, or did they just get people saying what you're doing is too early?
Well, yeah, but exactly. When there's 65,000 people kind of walking past you, that's not exactly nice.
Yeah, neither are the 7 death threats that I got tonight, because apparently
Yeah, but I would stick up for you as well. They're scumbags to do that.
I don't give a fuck. No, it doesn't bother me. Like, if people want to vent because they think that I'm somehow stopping progress, like, I couldn't give a shit. Like, it's ridiculous. I think that if you've just won a Europa League, then you should wait until the window closes before you kick your toys out of the pram. And I think it did do damage. If this hadn't happened, if what happened tonight hadn't happened, then they would continue to look silly. But the fact is, what's happened now, everyone's launched back into the league. I put a poll up, right? Yesterday, the poll was 68% Levy in. Today, it's 78% Levy out. This is the swing in which Tottenham. This is the madness of polls, right? It's all
loyal
reactionary stuff, isn't it?
Mm. Well, all we can do is wait and see what other players were on the list, because they will have had other players. in mind, but
yeah, it's just I don't even care who's on the list. I hope they don't get one. Like I said, hope they don't get one. Hope they go for a big left winger, maybe a number 8, a Paqueta, maybe a centre back. It's just a joke. It's just, you know what else is embarrassing? It's the first game that we play Arsenal and he lines up. It's gonna be embarrassing. The first interview, I was never going to Tottenham. This is always my. It's embarrassing. Morgan Gibbs-White, embarrassing. They've had 2 hugely damaging transfer scenarios in front of the public. Like that's not a good look. That's really, and it can't always be everybody else. At some point, they're going to have to go, Levy, why has this happened?
Yeah,
it has to.
That's fair enough. No, I hear you on that. But it's never a clean issue. It's never clean, right? There is always
Agreed.
There's always something. If it was completely black and white, then everybody would see the right side of that hockey. But the fact is, it's always opaque because A, we don't know what's going on, and B, like Morgan Gibbs-White would have been a Tottenham player, but his owner clearly did something or said something or whatever that made him stay. You know, Eze was going to be a Tottenham player, right? Like Romano, Ornstein, they all said Eze's fine. He's agreed terms. He wants to join Tottenham. He wants to make it happen. And then Arsenal come along. He's like, yeah, I'd rather go back to Arsenal. Like he went through the Arsenal. He's an Arsenal fan. You know,
he left at 13. He left there at 13.
Yeah, but he's still a boyhood Arsenal fan. You know, so like, I don't know. I don't think it's like as clear as people want to make it. But I hear the point that you're making, James, that it happens to Tottenham too much. I hear that for sure.
I think you can make reasons for like Nottingham Forest. I would agree. I'd say, you know what, that's not Daniel Levy's fault. Completely agree. You cannot drag out transfer windows for 10 days, 2 weeks, and then go, oh well, it's not always clean cut. There's always he's a very hard guy to work with. I'm sorry, he's not. There was a buyout clause. They can't all look. I'm not saying it's always Daniel Levy because it's not. But it can't always be everybody else.
I'm not.
It can't always be everybody else.
100% agree with you on that. 100% think. I've said this before 1,000 times, but no one ever wants to listen to it. But I've said 1,000 times.
I'm not saying you are either.
I know. But the people that want to, you know, because I'm the accessible guy. Daniel Levy's sitting in his ivory tower. But like I've said 1,000 times, I think Daniel Levy's zero-sum negotiation style will always come back to bite him. And it's going to come back to bite him massively in the next 11 days because there are so many people out there that where he has, you know, just drawn things out to the point where it's exhausting. And that now he's got to go back with his tail between the legs to whoever it is around European football and say, you know, I just fucking hope that we, like Nico Paz, for example, go to Como and get that one done and let Paratici handle it, you know, and pay them a lot of money. Because I think 50% of the money has to go back to Real Madrid anyway.
I wonder what Vinay Venkatesham's role in this because he was brought in for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly what he's going to do. Who
sign off on a deal, but who actually did the negotiations here?
Yeah, but we can't pick and choose when to listen to the ITKs either, can we? Because the you've mentioned lots of times there. Oh, but the ITK said XYZ about this deal. Or ITK said this, and that. Well, the ITK's also said Daniel Levy is meeting him today. So clearly, Daniel Levy hasn't stepped away from the transfer and the footballing side, like he said. You can't pick and choose what you want to believe.
No, I don't. But I mean, I'm very logical. I do everything on facts, and I provide links in my channel and stuff like that. So people doubt it. Say, here's the link. If it's wrong, you know, you like to pull things like more than once. But when you go on there and all the rumours and speculation out there, even on the radio programs on Sky Sports and Talkshite Radio and all that, it was all like, oh, everything's agreed, everything's done and dusted. We're just waiting. Parish, the player's going to play the next game, and they win it the next game because he's not going anywhere until they get a replacement in. So now maybe that is total bollocks, but then why is the player playing? If you want to sell a player and get money, last thing you want him injured. If you don't sell him in this window, he's only going to be worth 40 million next year when he's down to 1 year on his contract or whatever. So you've got that. I mean, It's something. Look, the player don't want to come to Spurs. I don't want him anyway. I don't want anyone that don't want.
Yeah, but that's such a naive way to think. That's such a naive way to think, because 20 minutes ago or 2 hours ago, you'd have been rimming Eze about him coming and going, oh yeah, like, unfortunately, it's like me saying to you, do you want this job? Yeah, I'll come work with you. 50k a year, perfect, yeah. And then some guy knocks next door and goes, yeah, I'll give you 70k. Yeah, I'm going for the 70k. Well, I don't want him anyway. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. It's so...
The point I'm making is nowadays, although like maybe honour's got nothing to do with anything anymore, is the fact that the players agreed terms and he has agreed to come. That's what I find annoying. And then you're now going to change your mind. So if that's naive of me, fair enough. But that aspect to me, I don't want you. And I wanted that player. I wanted him beginning of last season with Dorkler. I'm on record of that, saying it loads of times. But
I don't understand that way of thinking, because if you've been given a better offer, you've got a better offer. Why is he going to stick for something less of an offer than when you've got a better offer? That doesn't make sense. It's all well and good living in the Tottenham Hotspur fan bubble, but it's realisation. More money, more chance of winning the league, guaranteed probably Champions League football next season and the season after that. Like, it doesn't break down to, oh, I don't want to play for Tottenham, like Tottenham Hotspur or this, or that. There's more to it. And like I said, it's one thing you saying, oh, you believe them when you're saying, oh, yeah, the deal's done. But when they say things on the opposite, it's like, well, you're picking and choosing what the reporters believe and what they say, rather than take everything as fact or none of it as facts.
No, we on our show, we report it all, whatever it is. You've got to talk about something. But I'm saying, if the player's give his word and he's gone back on his word, not for me, thank you very much.
Why has he gone back on his... So if you got offered a 50k a year job, for example, you say, yeah, I'll take that. And the next day someone goes, oh, here's a job, 70k. It's not going back on your word. It's getting a better offer.
Well, it depends which way you look at it.
So you would say no. Say, for example, you're going to go work in Aldi, 50k a year as the manager. And then Marks and Spencer's coming and go, look, you're going to run this show. You're going to earn 80, 90k a year. What do you want to do? You're going to go, nah, my loyalty's at Aldi. I'm staying there.
Hold on, we're in the realms of hypotheticals, because this isn't the case with Eze. The case with Eze is Arsenal have matched the offer. That's all.
No, but it is the case, because they can offer. They're a better team. They're pushing for the league every year.
You know, that might have thought, well, you know, that might have swayed him the other way. We don't know.
And we've got like 3 players over 100k, and they've got like 12.
But that's got nothing to do with this deal. That's just a different fact for a different situation of how we pay our players, on who gets what wages and what bonuses. That's nothing to do with this. I mean,
of course, it's all going to come into his contract, isn't it?
We need more facts. Well, you know, have they offered him more money? Maybe they've offered him more money, and then your argument's stronger. But
your arguments is just getting less and less, because you're saying, if he doesn't want to be here, like, I don't want him. Like, it doesn't make sense, because it's not like that anymore. Well, there is no loyalty in football anymore. It's all power notes.
To come, and they've agreed the deal, and everyone out there was reporting on this. This deal's virtually done. They just want to get El Khanous over the line, and then so he might play Thursday. We'll see if he plays tomorrow. That'll be an eye-opener. Sean alluded to that, which is a good point. I mean, and then we'll see, won't we? We'll see. There's a bit more of this story to come out. The facts have got to come out as well.
Connor, how you doing?
I'm all right. Well done on facing the music, Sean. It's not an easy night for you, to be fair.
Why? Why? What do I do?
You're
just because you're can't you? I'm sure you've had it in the chat. I'm sure you've had it. You certainly were getting it even when you weren't on.
I would like to say at this juncture that Sean doesn't buy the players or pick the team, right?
and you report content at the end of the day. So
content's got a content, bro. Content's got a content, you know.
Exactly. Look, I think with this, for me, it all comes down to this player had a release clause as well, right? So it's not like a deal where, you know, we didn't have the opportunity to sign him. There was weeks and weeks that have gone by where we could have triggered a release clause. Now, you can argue whether you think that the release clause was too high. In my view, I think 60 million plus 8 million add-ons for Eze is actually a steal. And if you believe what Ornstein is reporting, that's what Arsenal have ended up paying anyway. Perhaps the payment structure is a little bit different. But we know, Sean, that you know, if we wanted a certain payment structure to work, we could make it work. We managed to find 125 million in cash in the last 3 years to pay for real estate and property. So if we wanted to make this deal work with a lot of upfront cash, we could have. We had weeks where Arsenal pulled out of the deal. Obviously, the Havertz injury today has accelerated it. So we've only got ourselves to blame for allowing them to come back in, because if we had triggered that release clause a week or so ago, if it did expire on Friday, as we're led to believe, he would already be holding up the Tottenham shirt at this point. So this is
When
our own fault.
when
And I don't buy all of this stuff. Just quickly, sorry, I don't buy all this stuff. And I said this to you, Sean, about I think in our WhatsApp group, you know, around Parish is a knob, or Parish is doing this. That's his prerogative, right? We let the release clause expire. It's his prerogative to negotiate the way he sees fit for what is his prized asset. We allowed that situation to happen. So look, we've only got ourselves to blame, and unfortunately, this is, you know, this is systemic for me of the way that we operate as a club. I don't, you know, I'm not going to do "I told you so" or any of that crap about Levy. This is just.
Yeah, but here's what I would say. I completely agree with everything you said. Everything you said. I think that the release clause thing is the area of the argument where there's no defense with the benefit of hindsight. Everything else, I think, is a little bit of bad luck. I think that the fact of the matter is that we matched that we had a deal accepted. They've accepted the same terms. He's chosen Arsenal. So on that stuff, I'm not that like, it is what it is. But if you go back to the fact that there was a release clause and it looks like we've ended up paying basically that much anyway, maybe with slightly more favourable terms, then with the benefit of hindsight, that's where the screw up is, in my opinion. Completely echo that. I will still go back to the point though, and if everyone can check the tape, this is my personal take. I wasn't that fussed about Eze playing in the 10 because he's a dribbly winger. He's a dribbly 10, and we needed a passing 10. I said 1,000 times long before this shit show's happened that I would have rather have seen someone else come in that can do a better job in that if we were going to go and get Savinho. So to me, the meltdown is one thing, and there's justification, but I think there's a lot of like pent up frustration and emotion and opportunism that's all kind of colliding at the same time, a perfect storm that's resulting in this outcome. And I'm not going to step in the way of it. I'm going to sit there and go, fair enough, feel how you feel. But for me personally, if Tottenham can get Savio done or someone like him that can take on the left wing specialist role, I still maintain the argument that there'll be a better 10 out there than Eze for what we need in this system under Thomas Frank. So if it turns out on September the 1st that we haven't resolved any of this, then 100% I'll be going apoplectic like everybody else. But I'd like to keep my powder dry, like I've always said, until the end of the window.
Can I ask you a question then? Because there's a couple of things there you said. You said about it being bad luck for one of them. Havertz got injured today. Was it today he come out and said he was injured? Eze is done today. When did Maddison get injured?
10 days ago or something.
So it just goes to show that there's no bad luck involved. Big clubs go, right, we're missing a big player here now. Has to be replaced going into the new season. Has to. Done. Within the same day, done. Ours was 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. We'd contemplated it for ages, had the whole Morgan Gibbs-White thing, didn't do anything, contemplated again. 10 days later, we've lost out to a player we knew Arsenal wanted because he was involved with those 2 weeks ago. So we knew that they had eyes on him. But for me, I don't see any bad luck there again. And sometimes in the life, you make your own luck. And we've sat there and toyed around twiddling our thumbs, and now we've got what we deserved. Sometimes if you don't go and get it, you lose it.
I think the other issue is, James, and Sean, you did say that, by the way. Absolutely, you're not flip-flopping at all. I remember you and I think I was on the stream with you. We had these specific conversation. So you're not flip-flopping as you're being accused of. You know, I think there's a couple of comments where people, because you did say that.
The comments tonight are outrageous, but it's fine. Listen, it is what it is. It comes to the territory.
The problem is, Sean, the manager didn't think that. The manager thought that Eze was the right man after the Gibbs-White deal fell through. Yeah. And again, the ownership had not delivered on what the manager wanted. So, you know, your personal view is fine. But this is where, again, they've let down Frank. You know, I was reflecting on the deal before. It was obvious, I think, that Frank's priority was Gibbs-White. once that Gibbs White deal fell through, they should have moved immediately onto Eze. Why did it take 2 weeks before we even start, or 2 or longer, 3-4 weeks before we even started the negotiations? Then it took another week or 10 days. And so you've had all of these missed opportunities all the way through. And obviously we can get into the debate about the fact that it's better to obviously have players in for pre-season. But obviously this one has landed so badly because it's, all of the dominoes that could have fell have fallen, unfortunately, not in our favour as well, to your point. But we opened ourselves up to that.
And it's not like that they've signed him for £40 million either. So it's been worth them not paying the release clause. They've basically paid the release clause anyway. So it's not like you can go, right, 2 weeks of Hagelin, and even for Spurs, it's not like we could go, 2 weeks of Hagelin, but we've saved 10 million. Like we were talking 60 million plus 5 million add-ons, so you're talking 2 million. Is that worth it? For me, like I said, if we lose to Man City, and I'm not saying that he's going to win us that game, but for me, the chances go up.
You were referring before, though.
Yeah, but the chances for me increase by 30% because you're gaining 30% more firepower in that front line for me. So the chances of you winning could be 30%. Is it worth like holding back that 2 or 3 million?
To be honest, mate.
What's that? Sorry.
That's spurious reasoning. That's not.
But if you had these players in for start of pre-season, you're going to have a stronger team ready for the season. Every position you lose like 4 million in the league or something. So every point is quite vital. So for me, it's get these players in ASAP and then just work with it. Like same with the next thing people is going to say is the same with Savinio or whatever. But it's been quite clear the whole way through that they've said they wanted 70 million euros. So pay it. Or come out and say, look, no, that's too much. We're off. We're going elsewhere.
They bid 80 million euros, haven't they?
I think they said that £70 million or 87 million. It was something like that. But there's been a figure
at this stage, James. Let me ask you. Like for me, I've said this before tonight. I'll say it again. Like obviously, what's happened tonight changes the situation. But for me, I feel like the terrifying prospect here is. Even if Daniel Levy picks up the phone tonight and says 90 million euros, right? Then if Man City are just being weird because they hate Daniel Levy that much, or because someone does, then if they reject that, then they're bonkers as much as we are for offering it. Like because he's
then you've got to move on, haven't you, quickly?
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think anyone hates Levy. I think everyone's doing to Levy what Levy does to everybody else.
I agree with that. As well.
So, unfortunately, this is the one thing that I said. I think it was with Porro, or it was one of those signings. I said, when everyone blames the other chairman, but you got to realise no one wants to work with Levy or do deals with Levy because every time it's hard work, and so it should be. But there's got to be a point where you go, you know what, fair. We wanted 80, you've offered 78, whatever, we'll take that deal. But it's almost like, no, I want 78 plus a tenner. It's always like that. And that for me is where it's just not going to happen. For me now, if I think we're going to end up signing somebody along the Tel level, and we're going to have to pay 50 million quid for him because they're going to go, you need this guy. Up that money. Like, I don't care who you think. Tyler Diblin, that'd be a 55, 60 million pound deal now because they know it. They're like, right, you need it. Here you go.
Diblin, though, surely he's a right winger.
It was a bit of a change in style for Morgan Gibbs White to Eze. As much as I liked Eze and I like Gibbs White, totally
I don't think Eze's the right guy for Tottenham. I've said it from day one. So like, maybe people are mischaracterizing my like lack of outrage here as some sort of defense mechanism. I didn't he wasn't the guy that I rate. I didn't think he suits what we're looking for. I never have done.
But you must be able to accept the argument that it's a disappointment for
it is.
right?
100%. I tell you what, if we end up with Savio, or if we end up with Nico Paz, or if we end up with Paqueta, if we end up with Malik Fofana, if we end up with Danny Olmo, if we end up with any of those sort of players, I'm probably happier than what I would have been with Eberechi Eze. But I just think a hell of a lot of people are like, I don't know, it's not Stockholm syndrome, or maybe that's what they would probably accuse me of having. It's more like it's something else, the opposite of it. Like they're waiting for the chance to go into Meltdown. And because I had, by the way, when I did that my chairman thing, on Twitter. Like it's
Half of it
fantastic.
was
Joking,
said
yeah,
as
just
genuine.
joking. People can't take a joke.
Winding people up for a bit of fun. Like,
My question is though, you say a lot of if we end up with Omo, if we end up with whoever, what if we don't?
yeah, then I'll go mental. 100%.
I'd be making.
I'm notifications on to wait for that.
From the 1st of January, I said if we don't have a monster summer with a new club's highest record or a new club's highest earner, I will absolutely join the protests. And I don't think after tonight I'm welcome there, clearly. But I've always said that stuff. But I said keep your powder dry and see what happens. And for what it's worth, we do have a club's new highest earner, so I'm already out of the mud. But in terms of the club's highest fee, now I expect it more than ever. And now but I don't expect that we're going to get a new club's best ever player. I just think we're going to pay a new club's highest ever fee, because I think that Daniel Levy has put himself in a very fucking difficult position.
I'd really.
The problem is you're going to struggle, aren't you? Because you've got 10 days or so left of the window, and it gets into that argument again of
you've got to know where the
clubs not
players
having enough time to replace.
You're going to need straight answers of players for agents, aren't you? I'd really push for Xavi Simons, even though there's interest from Chelsea. They've got so many players there anyway. Right? I'd really push for him. He could do that job more central. He's got the energy, he's got the passing on him and all that. And I think he's gettable. But he might not want to come. But VDV's here. Have a word, VDV, with your Dutch colleague. Right?
Do you think Tottenham would pay... What is it that RB Leipzig wanted? 55 million quid, right? 60 million euros, something like that. Do you think they've Tottenham?
I don't know if he's got a release clause. If he's got one, make it. Just make
he
it.
hasn't got a release clause. But if you were to pick
but
and say,
you know what frustrates me is how can we not be all in on a player like that for that money, but then not think twice paying 40 million for Tel and Gray? That for me is more criminal than this Eze deal falling through. The fact that we haggle over a few million when you're talking 55 million, but yet we're instantly, Archie Gray 40 million, done. Tel 40 million, done. Plus 10 million loan, done. It's almost like, again, what if he's the next best thing? He's worth that punt. Let's take that risk. Someone has proven we never go out and do it. We can see from Kudos, we've spent big on Kudos, and you can see instantly that he's levels above anything we've got anywhere near the club.
yeah,
I'd say go get Lo Celso back.
oh, do me a favour. By the way, someone saying Torbjorn, I think his name is Sean. Be prepared to Google a player, mate. I spend 3 hours a day on the Y Scout tool. I'd be surprised if there's a player that I haven't heard of or looked at. I'm familiar with most of them, mate. It's what I do. When I'm bored, some people have a wank because of people hacking my computer. And I can't have a private wank anymore, so I look on Y Scout for my ships and giggles. We get some super chats done. Yid Army, big up to you, my man. He said, this is from a while ago. I apologise, mate. He says, time for another Levy in out poll, Sean. I put it up, mate. I put it up, and I think currently it's at, I can't see it right now. Hang on. Where is it? It's at about 77% Levy out. Wild swing.
That's low, isn't it?
It was 67% Levy in yesterday, mate. So this is the what meltdowns can do. Thank you very much for the super chat. Adrian Cockrell has said, if we want to win the league, West Ham isn't the answer. Listen, mate, I disagree. Said long before Eze's story came, came along in the stories, I was saying, go and get me Lucas Paquetá. I think he's a fucking baller. So
would that guy not go and get Jared Bowen either for the left then? Is that what we're saying?
We're all raving about Kudos as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
Listen, go back to West Ham and say, look, you still got problems? How much did you want for Paquetá? 50? We'll give you 60. Just shut up and let's do it now, tomorrow. You know?
How old is he?
27, I think. Something like that. He's brilliant. Brilliant player, though. Justin Cobb, big up to you, my man. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, thoughts on Magnus Akliouche from Monaco. I spoke about him already, mate. I think he's a right winger. He's entirely one-footed. He's better in a 10. If we're going to use him, we have to bring him in as a 10, but he's exactly the same. He's like the inverse of Eze in that he's brilliant runner, brilliant carrier, question marks over his passing, and he's entirely one-footed. So if you're going to use him as a 10, okay. If you're going to use him as a left winger, trouble. So I don't rate him as much as everyone else does, but everyone seems to think he's the next big thing. We'll see. Phil P, Says, how do you keep the powder dry in the mud? Is it time for a mud? I think this one's on me tonight, apparently.
Mud, mud, mud for you. You're always in the mud. You didn't think it could be true, and now you're in the mud.
Sean, I tell you who else is in the mud. The in the nose. That's who else are in the mud.
Are they in the mud though, mate? Like they were right the whole way.
Oh, all window is just bollocks. All of it is bollocks. And
You've been listening to Stel, haven't you?
All of it.
You've been listening to Stel.
They're always clever after the fact, aren't they? They're always clever.
No, but like, to be honest, like that guy Spurs Journo, he said before anyone else did, Tottenham need to fucking get this done quick because someone else is there. Before any of the journalists.
Yeah, he did.
He did say it before anybody else, and then it broke. So
every time I go to bed, I see visions of Ben Jacobs all the time. He's everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He talks more than I do as well. Love Ben. Bob Fritz, up to you. Or Bob Fitz, sorry, even. From day one, Sean said his opinion will be based on the end of the window. I know there's some issues, but that has been consistent. Thank you, Bob. That's exactly what I'm saying. And I 100%, if there's no upside or relative upside, but not good enough, I will 100% go after that. I go after Daniel Levy all the time on this channel, by the way. Go after him all the fucking time. I just don't, I say it as I see it. But thank you very much for the acknowledgement there, Bob. Cowboy Spurs says Arsenal equals football club, Spurs equals business. That's what a lot of people think, mate. That's what a lot of people think, but we did just win a trophy. Big Country Chris says Eze never wanted Spurs. A lot of people are saying that as well. I think he would have come to Spurs, but I think if there was a straight shootout, which it was tonight, he was always going to choose his boyhood club, you know? So, I don't know. I just don't feel the same way about this story as everyone else does. Lee says, Sean, it's not your fault. Levy is an idiot. Big up. Appreciate that, mate. But I'm the accessible one, mate. I'm the one that people can access and tell me how much they hate me because they really hate him. Connor, let me ask you a quick... We'll go for another 10 minutes, guys. How do you see the window finishing? If you take your Levy out hat off, put your partisan hat, turn your back to front, and talk to me about how's the window going to finish?
I think we've given ourselves too much to do, if I'm honest, without getting into the. I think the problem is that we are now in a position. We were already in this position anyway because after the Gibbs White deal fell through and then Maddison got the ACL, we were already in a position where we were quite clearly desperate for a number 10. You've now had another one on top of that. So I think, with 10 or so days left, we're in a situation where the season started for everyone. People are not going to be as amenable to selling the type of quality of player we need to sign. Certainly not without a replacement. I think we're going to have to go abroad now, for sure. And we're going to have to go to look at clubs that have financial issues. I think we've proven this year with both Forest and Palace in terms of the negotiations. And I made this point earlier on Sabbath's show, which is, it's not the same as it was 10, 15 years ago, whereby Tottenham come in for a player from a Palace or a Forest and they have to sell them because financially they need to. Forest don't need to sell players now. They're making decent money themselves and they've got a wealthy chairman who's ambitious. Palace are also making good revenue now. So, that's a different situation, I think. And I don't think we're going to be able to therefore prize those types of assets at this late juncture out of those types of clubs. So I think we've got to go abroad and we've got to go to clubs, really top talent from abroad, from clubs that are in financial difficulty where they don't have a choice other than to be bullied by someone the size of Tottenham. So we'll see. But look, I think it's I think we've left it too late, really, and I think unfortunately Frank is going to go into the season with his hands tied behind his back. You're on mute, Sean.
Sorry. So we're signing nobody then?
I don't know. I don't think we're signing no one. I don't think we're signing players of the quality of the ones that we've been talking about in terms of Eze and Savinho. I think they will get a number 10. It'll be someone like an El Khanous, perhaps.
Fucking hell.
That sort of level for me.
I'd rather they didn't sign anybody than sign him. I've got to be honest. if they sign him on a 5-year deal, the fan base will go into meltdown, and we've just dropped 30 million quid on a player that we won't that won't move the needle at all. You know, James, what were you saying, mate?
I'm the same. I don't get. It's not just about the buying the players now. Who's going to let their best players go when they're 2-3 games into a Premier League season? Also, you know, it's a lot harder to now prize Paqueta out of that club, especially with their first defeat under their belt, because that could be suicidal for them. That could be right. That's it. We're done. Like we are surviving till January and hope we can get somebody in. Because even if they get the 40 million, who are they then going to invest that in to benefit them or whatever the value is? For me, yeah, I'm the whole Cam, like I said to you earlier, I'm almost done with that now. I think move on, go for a left winger, go for an 8, and see how we get on, because we're just kind of barking up a tree now, and it's going to be impossible, in my opinion.
So you don't see anybody either?
I think we'll get a left winger, but if we do get a Cam, it'll be someone like Harvey Elliott. And there's nothing wrong with Harvey Elliott, but for me, he's a bit. There's no excitement there for me for someone like Harvey Elliott. I think he's a good player, and he's better than Sarr in the 10. Is he going to carry us for a Champions League run? Not for me.
Interesting. Fucking hell. Depressing way to finish the show. Adrian.
What do you think, Sean?
I'll let Adrian go first, and I'll tell you at the end.
Yeah, sorry.
I think we're going to be relying on Paratici now. A lot of the reports I've been reading while I was researching all the Spurs stuff like you do, try and get as much info as I can. And then it's sorting the wheat from the chaff. A lot of these Italian clubs are still skint. They haven't recovered really from COVID and loss of revenue and things like that. I think Paratici could get some deal. There's rumours of clubs like Roma and Juventus and Milan, and they want to off players because they want to get the wage bills down. That's what the sort of story's going out there in Italy. So,
but that's not true. That's another myth. That's not true. Juventus just went and slapped 16 million down on Kolo Muani, but that's more than we've spent. Yeah, so where these so-called poor clubs still slapping down money, big money, left, right, and centre? It don't make sense.
Well, it's not like we haven't tried to slap the money down, James.
No, we just kind of, you know, it's what I do with my kids. Do you want some money? Here you go. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
Like, in an ideal world, if things had gone differently, if Man City were reasonable about the valuation of a player, then we'd have Savinho for 70 million euros, new club's highest earner, and we would also have Eze.
But this is what I said. It can't always be the other club. If that's their
any more than we have, right? So this notion that we're not spending any money, we are trying to spend money, but for whatever. Maybe we're going about it in the wrong way. Maybe Levy's just like he's the habit of a lifetime. He has to nickel and dime. Well, I don't think you can make that argument for the Savinho story, right? 50 rejected, 60 rejected, 70 rejected. Like, it's massive leaps. And now the Man City guys are blocking it. Like, I think that maybe Daniel Levy here is guilty of like creating a reputation where everyone wants to fuck him over, and now they're going to fuck him over a bit more. And I'm happy to accept that might be the case. But in this notion that we're just not willing to spend any money, I think that's a load of bollocks. We're trying to spend money, we're just not getting it done for whatever.
There's always a caveat though. Like I said, we basically bidded the release clause. So if he wanted to spend that money, he could have done that 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's fine.
It could have been done.
I'll hear you on that. But again, the point of this particular debate, this micro debate, is Tottenham aren't spending any money. But it's not like we're not.
The more point for me was there's always another excuse. Like Adrian was saying, well, the Italian clubs are skint. Well, they're not. They're spending money. The Spanish clubs. Well, how are they spending money then?
Well, name all the clubs that are spending big amounts of money then. You made
Juventus, Inter, AC Milan.
No, they're not spending big money. Roma and that are trying to reduce their wage bill. Them other clubs.
Didn't Roma just try and sign someone for 40 million earlier today?
Jesus.
And they want to offload Pellegrini.
There's 4 or 5 clubs I've just named there.
Hang on, sorry. This conversation's got to pivot right now.
I told you this. That's what I said to you, didn't I? What did I just tell you? I just told you this. I just said that. You guys said no, we're not going to go for he's a right winger. I just said this.
What are we doing here? Are we going to shoehorn Kudus onto the left?
Or into the 10? And play Dibbling out on the right, I suppose. God knows.
But boy, I
Oh,
rate the
is
guy.
it-
I rate him. I think he's going to be good. I think he won't satisfy the fan base. I think the fan base are going to go into fucking meltdown. I actually genuinely rate him, but as a right winger, nothing else. And so for him to fit, then we have to move Kudus to somewhere where he doesn't want to play. Although didn't Kudus say he sees himself as a 10? Is that what Kudus said before?
Yeah, but then he come out after that, though, didn't he, and say, "I'm a winger. I like wingers always beat their man. My aim is to beat my man." So that was all live.
Fuck's
I mean,
sake.
this just can't be the quality of player that we're in for as a market.
Told you, I said this was going to happen. We're going into the Champions League with Tyler Dibley, Tel, and my guy. Look, my guy up front, Richalison, Tel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
to be fair, Sean, before we have a full meltdown, it's a name that's been mentioned, and
Yeah, there'll be lots of names mentioned.
properly-
Just quickly, though,
Hopefully, it's the name of
super
Tyler
quick.
Dibley. Fuck no,
James, just with Richarlison, right, your boy.
my guy.
If he's aware that tonight we realised, oh, hang on, we got a phone call. Listen, hi Daniel, it's Steve Parish. Arsenal have come in and put a bid in. They've matched the terms. Eze probably wants to go your direction, to the other direction. Anything you want to say before I put the phone down? How about
Romano has tweeted again, by the way.
how about
Sean,
we have?
if you want to put
Oh,
it
was
up.
he? Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, I just got a little
Not
ping for a
thinking about
message.
Savinio.
Tottenham have not stopped. There we go. Let's get it. Is it on the screen?
No,
Not yet. I mean, I've
Tottenham
not stopped
have
thinking
not
about
stopped
Margot
thinking
Robbie.
about-
Ain't going to happen, is it?
I've not stopped thinking about you, bro. I've not stopped thinking about you. That conversation we had. Fuck it hell. City insist on blocking the deal in the last 10 days. Spurs also made calls for Tyler Dibbling with Everton leading and Morgan Rogers, but seen as almost impossible, unlikely.
but isn't that the problem?
You pay enough money. You pay enough money. The problem is that we'll go and pay like 100 million quid for Morgan Rogers and 80 million quid for Savinio. We'll be as happy as a pig in shit. And in the last 8 days, Villa pick up the phone to all of their mates in Saudi and bring back fucking this, that, and the other. You know, and they end up spending like and they're suddenly out. Oh, I don't care about that. Go and pay the money. If you can go and bring me a Savinio and a fuck it, even if it's a Savinio on the left, even if it's a Kudus in the 10 and it's a Tyler Dibbling, I'll take it. I'll be happy. But Daniel Levy, pull me out of the mud, bro. You got to pull me out of the mud, Daniel.
My biggest criticism isn't the fact that we're being linked with players like that. It's the fact that it just said that, didn't it say something like City's chairmen are adamant of blocking the deal?
Yeah, but at a certain price point. At a certain price point.
Yeah, but as Daniel Levy, if they've said to him, he said 80 and they said no, at what point did he go, oh, what about 71? Or why don't you go, you know what, done. Off we go find someone else then. This is the problem, because it was the same with Eze. If he didn't want to pay the 55 or 60 plus add-ons, just wipe your hands and go elsewhere. Then you don't look like an idiot like he does now, because you've gone, you know what, that's too much. I didn't want to pay that. I'm out of here.
Oh, no, the people that are going to hate on Daniel Levy are going to hate on him if that's the case.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
I mean, the thing
that's
is,
my opinion, to be fair.
I mean, if you paid over the top, you'd get Vissa. He'd come back with Frank. You'd get Johan Vissa.
Well,
that's not over the top. That's 35 mil.
Sorry, James. That was the question I was going to ask you about your boy Richarlison. How's he feeling tonight? How's he feeling tonight? If he's just banged in a double against Burnley, and then he finds out that when Paris said any last words before I put the phone down, and how about we come back? James Thomas, you want Richarlison?
That's why they've accepted Arsenal's deal. They've got a new cheeky prick.
I think
If you're Richie and you're on Twitter tonight, you go, what the fuck? They offered me? I just scored a fucking overhead fucking worldie. What are we talking about here? You know?
We're thinking Richarlison and Berghvall
mentioned, aren't they? Swap deals are BS when they're mentioned. They don't have. It's complicated enough to get a player's contract done without trying to, double up 2 contracts with a swap deal. It's just when they report that, I think, well, that's fucking crap, real crap reporting. Talking about swap deals. And he's going to dig his heels in because he wants Brazil, doesn't he?
Well, what about Rodon and Archie Gray?
Go,
So
someone bring me.
I think this could be an option.
Bring me a Danny Olmo on loan. Bring me a fucking Savinho, and then I'll be like ratatata, and I'll be shamelessly spreading my fucking Levy, my chairman, forevermore. But Daniel, you got 10 days, otherwise I am fully in the mud. Apparently, just because I don't think the guy's as bad as everyone else does. But tonight is not the night to be having that argument. You know, tonight's not the night.
Slanky's fit. If Slanky's fit, your boy Richalison goes out on the left.
Oh, fuck it now.
Great. That's exactly
Imagine
what we want to
trying
see.
take a man on. Bring me back Timo fucking Werner. He could take a man on. He just couldn't put the ball anywhere near the box.
Mate, Richarlison should be anywhere near the first team.
Tyler fucking Dibbling though. I actually quite like Tyler Dibbling. I've got to be honest. I'm a weird bit.
He just ain't right now, though, is he? That's the problem. We've got enough young wingers that are not.
If Kudus gets injured, you're looking at Tyler Dibbling, Tel, Odegaard against Inter Milan, Barcelona. That is not acceptable.
The draw's on the 28th.
Great.
Long.
That's it.
Playoffs today. How did Celtic get on today? Did they draw or win? Anyone know?
How did who get on today?
Celtic. There's only the first legs. Rangers got spanked yesterday at home, didn't they? 3-1. They've got to go to Brugge. So Brugge will get pot 2 and we'll go in pot 3. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave it there, guys. It's been going 2 hours. Shit show of an evening, as is the standard Tottenham night. Well, I'll say massive thank you to Eugene for coming on, for you, Adrian, as well, for James, and to Connor. Massive thank you to the 22 super chats. Oh, there's a couple more, I think. One Cap Fun, big up to you, mate. Frank wants 2 10s. We can't even get one. Yeah, it's peak stresses tonight, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Please get over to Adrian Spurs Diehards TTID. Get over there, Adrian. When are you next streaming?
Druzilla will be hosting Friday at 10 o'clock in the evening.
Friday 10 o'clock.
And Ian hosts 10 o'clock on Sunday, and I host Tuesdays at 10.
All right, there you go. Thanks everyone ever so much. Love you all. And well, hopefully Daniel Levy can pull rabbit out of the hat. But at the moment, doesn't look at the state of the faces on you lot. You're all looking absolutely shattered and exhausted in equal measure, you know?
Coy's Daniel.
Coy's Daniel.
Coy's Paratici. Come on.
I've got to ask a question. Can I ask a question about this? This whole Paratici thing. The guy's a fraud. What was the last world-class player or good player he brought in? Mate, this guy lives off of a myth because a couple of fans love the geezer.
Really?
Yeah,
none of his players played in the final. 9.
Right, and that team was shocking.
Still won the cup though.
Unbelievably, but that's the level.
Top player that he signed.
Name 5 players. Name 5 players that Paratici got that's better than the ones that Lange got.
Romero.
Over Van der Ven.
Different positions.
What, Romero and Micky Van der Ven? They're not next to each other.
One's on the right, one's on the left. No, I'm fucking serious.
No, centre back for centre back. Okay, so that's a draw.
No, they fucking ain't. The right side is centre back, the left side, they're totally different. What are we doing here?
I think the way I would summarise Paratici is that I do agree that James is a bit overrated. You know, all this talk of the dog.
The guy's lauded
he made some good signings, but he also made some horrific ones.
With most clubs, with most clubs, the success rate on the transfer window, believe it or not, is about 50-50 is considered good. Paratici's success rate was 65%. It's high.
No chance.
Go, I'm not going to get a sauce up in there. Go sauce it.
Brian Hill and 25 million. Eric Lamela.
Up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Love you all. Thanks everybody, and I will see you tomorrow for more shameless clickbait. And I hope there's fucking loads of it. I'm going to be.
Believe. Come on, you Spurs. Believe.
Get over to Spurs Diehards. Appreciate you, James. Appreciate you. Get over to Connor Leavenomics as well. 882 on Twitter. He's going to be going shamelessly Levy out. I'm in the mud. I've turned off Twitter tonight because the notifications, as I say, death threats, and even Bugsy Malone had a death threat, which is pretty nasty. You know,
well,
your super chat's back, but your Twitter's crashed. Yeah.
Go after me, but don't go after my dog. You absolute. Anyway, see you later, guys. Ciao. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.